Chapter 251, Thousand Transformation. His spiritual stone monkey gene was strengthened to 4 from 2, and his vitality stat explosively increased by 150. Every extra enhancement in a transcendent gene would result in a great transformation to the body. Feng Lin's entire body started trembling, his figure and face started to blur. It was just like ripples in flowing water, transforming without end. The heart monkey force was capable of transformations. As the strengthening tally increased, the transformation ability would naturally be stronger. Feng Lin's talent in the art of transformation grew a notch stronger. He could transform with just a thought and become anything his heart desired. There was no need for him to intentionally use this ability actively. In his case, changing forms could be done in the blink of an eye. Also, that was not the end. Feng Lin felt that he was moving toward a higher realm of wonder. His consciousness broke past the limits of this dimension and crossed the macro and micro boundaries. He could feel the essence of a multitude of living things. This was a kind of sensation where one could sense all things, akin to looking down on everything from God's perspective. The heart monkey force was truly marvelous. This perspective he felt wasn't in a fixed state. Rather, it was like clouds and mist, allowing him to sense the essence of everything from all angles. Feng Lin felt that as long as he willed it, he could transform into anything. Could this be material transformation? Feng Lin involuntarily guessed. The art of transformations could be divided into 3 stages: form transformation, matter transformation, and divine transformation. Form transformation was simply changing the shapes and forms of the objects or user. It wouldn't be able to affect the inner nature. Mountain was mountain, water was water. As for matter transformation, it transformed the inner nature of the objects or users. Mountain wasn't mountain, water wasn't water. Water could become fire, copper could become jade, mud could become stone. According to scientific principles, it meant changing matter at the molecular and atomic levels. Feng Lin's heart stirred. He instinctively activated his heart monkey force, and the water vapor rising in the air condensed into a sphere of water on his hand. After that, the sphere of water started to transform, slowly becoming a ball of fire. At the next moment, he felt a piercing pain at the center of his brows. He felt that his heart monkey force was gushing out like tides, and this transformation would instantly drain his heart monkey force dry. Under great shock, he hurriedly stopped what he was doing. In the center of the water sphere, a cluster of fire could actually be seen. But soon after that, the fire was dissipated. Feng Lin felt that transforming water into fire wasn't impossible. It was just that the expenditure of his heart monkey force was too great. If he forcibly continued, even just transforming a tiny sphere of water would be sufficient to drain him dry. What was the reason for this then? Matter transformation affected the substance at an atomic and molecular level. This level of change far surpassed form transformation. It was normal that more heart monkey force would be expended. But wasn't such great expenditure a little too exaggerated? It wasn't practical at all. This didn't conform to logic. Most probably, Feng Lin hadn't found the true reason yet. Feng Lin started to probe, experimenting with the simplest body transformation. If one were to ask him what was the thing he understood the most, the answer was undoubtedly. Feng Lin's body trembled. And at the next moment, golden fur grew all over his body. In his original location, a golden-furred monkey appeared. He stood there, stunned, and blinked his eyes in confusion. This was... Feng Lin was shocked. This time around, his transformation wasn't like before. Prior to this, he would only assume an external form to cover things up, only the shape was similar. But now, he truly became a real monkey. other than possessing his normal levels of intelligence, he discovered that his body structure and organs were truly the same as a monkey. He had used his inner vision to survey the interior of his body, and he had truly become a monkey. Now, if he was to remove his clothes and mixed in with a group of monkeys, no one would be able to differentiate him from monkeys even if they used the most advanced scientific technology to scan him. Since he had already become a monkey at the molecular level, how could a scan be able to tell otherwise? For a moment, Feng Lin didn't know whether to laugh or cry. No matter how he thought about it, he never imagined that he would become a monkey. Could it be that he was destined to be a monkey? No, not only so. Feng Lin's thoughts changed. His figure transformed again, and he became a large tiger that gave out a resounding roar. It was just that this tiger seemed extremely weird. This form had a tiger head and a human body, and there were stripes on his body resembling tattoos. Half human, half tiger, resembling a demon, this transformation was incomplete. Next, he tried out other transformations, a human body and a snake tail, a human that had eagle's wings, a scaled merman. All sorts of bizarre forms appeared one after another, mixing in characteristics of humans and animals. They were simply abominations. Only then did Feng Lin gradually experience the true meaning of matter transformation. Although matter transformation could allow him to transform into anything at the molecular level, he couldn't use it so easily. Firstly, he had to have a sufficient understanding of the thing he wanted to transform into before he could succeed. Secondly, the greater the degree of transformation, the greater the expenditure of his heart monkey force. Feng Lin was walking on Sun Wukong mythology path, thus, he was extremely clear about the biological structure of a monkey and could instantly transform into one. But with regards to tigers, birds, and fish, he only had a rough understanding of their biological structure. This was why his attempt to transform into them earlier resulted in so many bizarre forms. But even so, the difference between matter change and form change was clear. Form transformation didn't transform one's inner body structure, but matter change would completely transform it into what the user wished to transform into. From the exterior, there seemed to be no differences between the two, but from the interior, things were completely different. Also, matter transformation required much more warping of reality, resulting in much greater expenditure in heart monkey force. If one was to put it more simply, matter transformation contained two aspects. One was macroscopic, another was microscopic. For the macroscopic aspect, the greater the quality and volume of the target, the more the heart monkey force's expenditure would be. Feng Lin could sense that he also had the ability to transform into a larger or smaller size. After he attempted it, he discovered that he could transform into a 10 meters giant at the max. It wasn't possible for him to grow any larger. For the microscopic aspect, this was a transformation on the molecular and atomic levels. A sphere of water didn't seem to be too much in volume, but if he wanted to transform it into fire, he had to do so from the most basic atoms. To change the microscopic aspects of water to fire was simply too tough, resulting in too great an expenditure of his heart monkey force. Earlier, when he had attempted that, he could have already felt himself being drained dry at the start of the transformation. Although matter transformation was wondrous, it could be considered a double-edged sword. He must use this carefully. Feng Lin had just awakened the spiritual stone monkey gene recently. His ability to transform was still undoubtedly weak. In fact, he suspected that even if he strengthened this gene to a maximum of 10 points, he would still be unable to transform as he wanted to if he didn't understand the principles. Awakening a gene was awakening a talent. The strengthening of a gene only meant enhancing the talent. It wasn't equal to true strength. Strength, other than having a connection with one's innate talent, hard work was also extremely important. He had to continue practicing and cultivating before he could unleash the full potential of his talent and grow with no restrictions. For example, for the most simple strength gene, if you really unleashed its maximum potential, wouldn't you be able to turn into Pan-gu, open up the skies, and split open the earth? This bore traces to Sun Wukong mythological path. Sun Wukong was a spiritual stone monkey birthed by the heavens, and his innate talent was incomparably strong. He was capable of transformations, knew astrology and geography, and was even able to shift the stars. But when he was a mere stone monkey, nobody guided him and he had to mix with the other monkeys in the forest. At most, he was only their leader. It was only until after he took Subhuti as his master did he manage to cultivate his powerful skills and slowly became the great sage equal to the heavens that wreaked havoc in the heavenly court and underworld. There was never anyone in the world who was born extremely powerful. You would only receive something if you gave up something. The great sage equal to heavens only became so powerful because he gave it his all in his cultivation. Feng Lin started to test his own abilities. Sweat poured down his body like water as he continued attempting the art of transformations. He would transform into a ferocious tiger, a golden ape, and even a human female. Layers of mist cloaked his face. There were thousands of transformations, and it was unfathomable. Chi. Feng Lin's hands turned into tiger claws, and he tested their power. With a ferocious slash, sharp claw marks appeared on the cliff. They were about 3 inches deep. If such a degree of power landed on a human's body, that human would surely be torn apart. Feng Lin stared in shock at his claws. He sank into contemplation. 4 ancient martial arts of Huaxia, the ancient cultivators created them from mimicking the moves of animals or weapons. Now that he was capable of thousands of transformations, if he transformed into the shape of a beast and gained the essence of their attacks while unleashing ancient martial arts, wouldn't his prowess be enhanced to another level? Chapter 252, Beast-like Fist Art. Transforming into a beast and using beast form fist techniques? This inspiration came suddenly without a warning. But the more he thought about it, the more reliable he felt it was. The profoundness of the transformation came from being able to do things freely, changing nimbly, as well as adapting to all sorts of environments. Since beast form fist techniques came from mimicking the movements of wild beasts, why not just changed into a wild beast, broke free from the restrictions of the human body, and fully unleashed the abilities of a beast? This might be impossible to others, but to Feng Lin, it was something he could accomplish with a single thought. Feng Lin immediately put things into action and started experimenting. 5 forms fists tiger form. Feng Lin's body started to change. After many attempts, he was now capable of achieving the initial phase of turning into a ferocious tiger. There was the character on his forehead, stripes on his body, and his claws were very sharp. He let out a roar. A tiger's roar rang throughout the entire mountain. It was a big and ferocious-looking tiger. Boom! Tiger comes from wind. Feng Lin's body moved and strong gales blew. Crouching tiger pouncing on prey, hungry tiger lifting rock, black tiger pushes mountain. He took on the form of a ferocious tiger, performing many stances with his claws. His strong prowess was unrivaled. His steel-like tail was like a whip, lashing out and causing rocks to crumble. These ordinary moves displayed extremely great prowess in his hands that wouldn't lose out to any martial technique. However, Feng Lin stopped his actions and looked at his claws in a daze, deep in thought. Although he had performed the tiger form as a ferocious tiger, he still felt that there were many disharmonious parts. Some moves didn't seem to flow well, and it was hard to unleash their full potential. Although the moves appeared strong, it was just the strength of the tiger's body and not the moves. Feng Lin had immersed in martial arts for a very long time, and after giving it a careful thought, he understood the crux behind this. Since the human body had restrictions, how could it be that the tiger's body had none? Ferocious tigers basically had 3 moves in their attacks: pounce, lift, cut. These 3 moves were simple and not extravagant, but they were also a ferocious tiger's 3 most powerful moves. The other moves wouldn't be as strong in comparison. Therefore, when a human fought against a ferocious tiger, as long as they could dodge these first 3 moves, it wouldn't be as terrifying regardless of how fierce the tiger was. This was also the essence in which Wusong had beaten up the tiger. Dodge, dodge, dodge. Strike. Fenglin realized that his thoughts had gone off track. Although the human body had restrictions, it was still more of an all-rounder compared to other animals. Humans could walk upright, crawl on the ground, swim in the water, and leap into the air. In ancient cultivation manuals, the human body was called the Xiantian Dao body. There was a reason why it was called so. He had previously admired wild beasts for their ferocity, but neglected the fact that tiger form fist was something that the previous generation's experts had modified to be used by the human body. After extracting the essence of wild beasts' movements and eliminating the restrictions on the human body, they successfully created these fist techniques. The beast form fist techniques were still essentially a fist technique for humans. Therefore, his idea of taking on the beast form to use the beast form fist techniques wasn't wrong, but he would need to extract the essence from it. He didn't need to change everything. That would result in him being restrained by the wild beasts' bodies, and he would get little results despite devoting more efforts. What was the profoundness behind a tiger's fights? Fenglin sat cross-legged and entered deep into thought. The 3 moves a tiger had were the pounce, lift, and cut, with them each being body pounce, claw lift, and tail cut respectively. His eyes gleamed as if he had understood something. His body went through a transformation. The muscles on his back bulged up, his hands became sharp claws, and a tail that was like a steel whip grew behind his butt. Fenglin stood up tall, having the body of a human but with the characteristics of a ferocious tiger. He performed the tiger form fist once again, and this time around, he sensed that there was something very different about it. The moves were a perfect complement with his body, having great harmony from the human body and the ferocity from the tiger form. His sharp claws tore out, sending strong gales and releasing chi sounds in the air. The surrounding mountain cliffs and ground were scratched with many marks left behind. The wind was like blades, circling his body and repeatedly creating explosive sounds in the air. Fenglin leaped into the air and was like a human-shaped tiger. Dragon, tiger, leopard, crane, snake. The tiger form fist was merely one of the 5 forms in the 5 forms fist. After comprehending the tiger form fist's true essence, Fenglin then started to test out the other 4 forms, the dragon, leopard, crane, and snake forms. His body kept on changing non-stop, evolving in a variety of beast forms and then integrating them into his own body to multiply the prowess of the fist technique. Very long later, Fenglin stood upright. A huge crater had been left in the ground under his feet, and the surrounding mountain cliffs were filled with scratch marks. These were the traces left behind by the martial art moves, leaving shattered rock pieces all over on the ground. The massive cave expanded to become 10 times or more of its original size. However, before Fenglin could calm down and summarize his comprehensions, loud booming sounds rang out. He raised his head and saw the top of the mountain starting to crack and collapse. He quickly dodged. Fenglin's figure moved like a series of afterimages as he moved out 1,000 meters away. The big mountain behind him came crumbling down. The strong fist force he produced had caused the mountain's interior structure to be completely damaged. The mountain collapsed like scattered sand. Fenglin felt awkward. In the process of practicing his fist arts, he almost buried himself. If others were to hear of this, He found another cave that was even more concealed and started comprehending his fist arts again. His martial arts mastery improved by leaps and bounds. Right now, the beast form was very different in his hands. It combined the ability to take on a myriad of changes, and its prowess increased tremendously. It was no longer inferior to the uniqueness of genetic martial arts. In fact, this fist technique could only be used by one with genetic ability. It was now considered to be a genetic martial art, and it was time to give it a change of name. Beast-like fist art? Feng Lin nodded. If beast form fist techniques were said to imitate wild beasts, then the beast-like fist art simulated wild beasts. It possessed battle techniques that were in no way inferior to the battles between wild beasts and could fully unleash gene cultivators' abilities, allowing them to become fiercer. The only thing that Feng Lin was unsatisfied with was that even though the prowess of the beast-like fist art was a lot higher than ancient martial arts, it was merely a mid-grade low-tier genetic martial art. Feng Lin thought deep about this while practicing repeatedly, comprehending the true essence of the beast-like fist art. Humans are the earth is the heaven is the Tao is nature. Beast form fist techniques had been created by martial ancestors, who had observed the unique traits of the animals, as they tried to imitate nature. Tiger brought about the tiger form, cranes brought about the crane form, snakes brought about the snake form. An idea suddenly popped up in Feng Lin's mind. Although ferocious tigers and venomous snakes were very violent, they were merely ordinary living creatures. If he could simulate higher-level creatures, wouldn't they be able to merge the characteristics of even more living creatures, raising the quality of the beast-like fist art? If the level of the creatures was too low, things wouldn't work out. It must be higher-level creatures. What creatures could he imitate? Feng Lin frowned and started thinking deeply about this. However, his brows instantly relaxed and he smiled. There was one thing that had slipped his mind. Where was this place? The Azure planet. Wasn't there a horrifying biological weapon on Azure planet, the aberrations? As the top-notch primitive living creatures, they had great strength and amazing speed. They would definitely stand at the top of all primitive living creatures. If he were to simulate the characteristics of aberrations, wouldn't it greatly enhance the essence of the beast-like fist art? Feng Lin put his idea into action. With a wave of his hand, a 3-meter-tall aberration corpse appeared before him. It was that giant queen. Although it had already died, its hideous face and the intense baleful aura oozing out from its body still made it hard for others to get close to the corpse. He ignored the stench from it and decisively started to dissect the corpse. As the strongest ruler amongst aberrations, the aberration queen had accumulated all the essence of aberration's life structure. It was a perfect specimen for study. Feng Lin acted as if he were a maniac researcher, dissecting the queen's body entirely and not letting go of anything at all. He sank into a mysterious epiphany. Therefore, he started strolling around the Azure planet, continuing to hunt down aberrations to collect points for the test. At the same time, he secretly observed how aberrations hunted down other living creatures and from there, he summarized the way they fought. Imitating nature. Feng Lin did what the people in the past had done and the inspiration in his heart grew increasingly mature. Gradually, a new fist technique was born. Aberration fist. An aberration stood at the top of a mountain. Its entire body was covered in black shell, and its limbs were filled with bone blades. It was like a human-shaped weapon. Pfft. That monster suddenly moved, turning into a black shadow and shot out. Its entire body was like a blade that destroyed everything in its path. As it punched and kicked, it created unrestrained destruction. Its ferocity was unrivaled. The bone blades on its limbs were extremely sharp, and they slashed through the void. Wherever the bone blades passed by, Rocks would be sliced up into 100 or even 1,000 pieces, completely crumbling into pebbles. The aberration fist was finally a success. Feng Lin stood up slowly. The place behind him was in a state of ruins, and the massive mountain was flattened. Right now, the beast-like fist art could already be considered as a high-grade low-tier genetic martial art. If he were to simulate more powerful living creatures in the future, its grade might continue to rise. 10 days passed by very quickly. Feng Lin looked at the sky. The time for the test should be up soon. Without any delays, he leaped into the sky, heading for the far distance. In the blink of an eye, he disappeared into the horizon without a trace. Chapter 253, Who is Number 1? A huge star warship was floating in the deep and silent universe. A group of candidates had gathered at the square inside the star warship after having safely returned from Azura planet. Hyzens, 2,176 points. As a candidate brought out his war trophies, the AI automatically scanned and gave the corresponding marks. Amazing. Doesn't such a high score means that he has killed at least 217 soldier-type aberrations? Although this person is only an interstellar cultivator, his battle prowess isn't simple. Of course. Which person who can fight their way out from the Azura planet can be trifled with? A commotion broke out amongst the other candidates. The white-skinned young man wore an arrogant look on his face, enjoying everyone's gaze as he walked down. However, he didn't get to stay happy for too long before the AI's voice immediately caused his smile to freeze. Zhao Wuji, 10,780 points. Hua. The surroundings broke out into a commotion. It was far too terrifying to have the test score suddenly being raised to over 10,000 points. Such a high score was simply too much of an exaggeration. The person would have to hunt at least over 1,000 aberrations. The 2,000 points from earlier was a far cry in comparison. Such a high score would almost guarantee the candidate from passing the test. However, the astonishment was far from being over. An Eastern young man with blonde hair that was like the color of the sun walked out from the crowd. The moment he appeared with his upright figure, he attracted everyone's gazes. Dong Huangling. He was like a person favored by the god, born to be at the center of the world like the sun, and surrounded by the stars. Many pairs of eyes filled with admiration, envy, respect, glanced over. Amongst these candidates, Dong Huangling was a genius candidate who had been ranked at the very top. His vitality exceeded 500 points, and he was a middle-phase elite cultivator. This feat was unbelievable for someone so young in the solar system where the resources were scarce. Everyone started to talk amongst themselves. I heard that during the test, Dong Huangling gathered the majority of the people to hunt a humanoid queen. Although they didn't succeed, it's already a terrifying feat to be able to retreat safely. I wonder how many points he can score. It definitely won't be low. That humanoid queen was snatched by an unknown candidate and was chased after by the ultimate killer king. He's definitely dead. It seems that Dong Huangling is definitely going to take the number 1 spot in the test. The Greek sisters mixed in amongst the crowd and watched this scene quietly. There was a hint of anxiety in their eyes as they looked around. Elder sister, the 10 days deadline is going to be up soon. That Feng Lin couldn't have been killed by that ultimate killer king, right? Eris's voice sounded grim. However, Yana was very calm. She shook her head and said in a soft voice, "Don't worry. Feng Lin has always been a person who thinks before he acts and has a lot of tricks up his sleeves. Since he dares to snatch the humanoid queen's corpse, then he must have been prepared and not acted recklessly. Although that ultimate killer king is strong, he might not be able to kill Feng Lin. Let's hope that's the case." The two ladies exchanged a glance and didn't say another word. Clatter. a large number of objects dropped to the ground, and the air permeated with foul blood odor. A lot of aberrations' thumbs dropped out, piling up to form a small mountain. The AI's red light kept on flashing non-stop and started to scan incessantly. Suddenly, it reported astronomical numbers that took everyone present by surprise. 1.456 million points. What? Over 1 million points? This is too much of an exaggeration. He definitely must have killed a large aberration queen. Otherwise, his score couldn't possibly hit over 1 million. As expected of Dong Huangling. To be able to kill an aberration queen that's of the same level as him when surrounded by so many aberrations. Such a tremendous amount of points made the other candidates gasp. Even the examiners looked at him in a different light. The marshal dressed in battle armor locked his gaze onto Dong Huangling, nodded, and praised him. Excellent. The solar system is a deteriorating star region for cultivation. However, you aren't bad to be able to reach such a cultivation level. If your score is placed amongst the past exam results, you'll definitely come out first. The others were filled with envy to see that Dong Huangling had received the praise of the Interstellar Army's marshal. However, Dong Huangling's expression remained calm. He nodded as if this was something perfectly normal and to be expected. In his opinion, the person who had snatched the humanoid queen had been chased and killed by the ultimate killer king, and couldn't have survived. Who else but him could be the number one? What is he so arrogant about? If Feng Lin is around, his score would definitely be higher. Eris let out a cold snort. The three of them had been joining forces to hunt down queens and were very clear about each other's scores. They were very sure that Feng Lin's score was definitely higher than this 1.45 million points, and thus viewed Dong Huangling in disdain when he acted as if the first position was his. Eris didn't lower her voice while snorting. Everyone present was at least interstellar cultivators and had a keen sense of hearing. They instantly locked their gazes in her direction. Dong Huangling's expression turned cold, but he immediately broke into a faint smile and looked at Eris with a deep gaze. He laughed softly and asked, "Oh? There's such a character in this test? What kind of person is this Feng Lin?" His gaze was filled with oppression as he stared at the Greek sisters. Eris's brows raised and she was about to speak up. "It's nothing. He is just a companion of ours. My younger sister was only joking," Yana spoke up emotionlessly, throwing back Dong Huangling's probing and didn't reveal any information about Feng Lin at all. Although Eris had a forthright character, she was no fool either and realized that she had almost divulged Feng Lin's secret. She immediately shut her mouth and didn't speak again. Oh. Seeing that the two sisters didn't pay him any heed, Dong Huangling knew that he wouldn't be able to find out anything from them and didn't continue asking. He was deep in his own thought while his eyes glimmering with a deep glow. No one knew what he was thinking about. Thereafter, the other candidates took turn to step up. Feng Rue, 5,672 points. Fumataro, 20,138 points. Seto, 12,637 points. The scores kept being updated and rising, but there was still no one who could surpass Dong Huangling. It was almost a certainty that he would clinch the top position and no one would be able to move him from that spot. It was finally the Greek sisters' turn. The two ladies exchanged a glance and walked up. The sisters' beauty immediately attracted everyone's gazes. The two of them waved their hands, and a pile of aberrations' thumbs fell down and piled up into a small mountain. Eris, 689,000 points. Yana, 362,000 points. As the AI revealed their test scores, the crowd broke into a commotion again. There were few high-level female cultivators to begin with, yet to think that these two sisters could get such a high score. They were next only to Dong Huangling, surpassing everyone else. While feeling astonished, they also felt that this was hard to accept. How did these two ladies do it? It's unbelievable. I haven't heard of their names before this. Everyone started to guess the ladies' background. These two be asterisk cheese. A pair of eerie and vicious gazes stared at this scene, as if coming from a hungry ghost. Just as everyone was talking amongst themselves, a faint and soft laughter rang out, breaking the silence. I would like to trouble both examiners to give them an additional 100,000 points each. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. As these words rang out, everyone's gazes turned to look toward its source. A tall and slender figure walked out very slowly. Who else could it be but Feng Lin? Everyone's gaze was on Feng Lin. He wore a faint smile, as if he didn't sense anything at all. What do you mean by this? An examiner asked. It's nothing. Feng Lin smiled. Yana, Eris, and myself have cooperated to hunt aberrations. I have 2 medium aberration queen's thumbs here that I would like to trouble the examiners to transfer to them. This should let their score increase by another 100,000 points. You really want to do this? The examiner was stunned, unable to comprehend what this examiner was thinking. Their test scores were very important, yet he was being so generous as to give them up? Feng Lin, there's no need to do this. If you were to give the points to us, how are you going to fight for the first place? Said Yana in a low voice. Everyone broke into a commotion. This person is Feng Lin? He's also thinking of fighting for the first place? Who is he? Who is he to dare fight with Dong Huangling? Many pairs of eyes seemed like sharp swords, wanting to pierce through Feng Lin and see through all of his backgrounds. Standing amongst the crowd, Dong Huangling's expression started to turn eerie all of a sudden. Don't worry. Feng Lin said to Yana, this small amount of points won't be able to affect me. Moreover, this is what I promised to give the two of you. After snatching the humanoid queen, he had been surrounded and attacked by the ultimate killer king, Dong Huangling, as well as many other killers and candidates. Could it be, seeing that Feng Lin was so confident, Yana was confounded. However, she suddenly seemed to have thought of something, and her eyes opened wide while she appeared as if she wanted to say something. Feng Lin brought out 2 thumbs that were as sharp as blades. They were clearly different from the other aberration's fingers. Medium aberration queen's thumbs. Those examiners knew their stuff and could immediately recognize what they were seeing. They took a long look at Feng Lin and said, Are you sure that you want to do this? Feng Lin nodded. Seeing that Feng Lin had decided, the 2 examiners didn't persuade him any further. Transmission of points was the candidate's freedom, and they didn't have the right to interfere. Thereafter, both Yana's and Eris's score were increased by 100,000 points, reaching 462,000 points and 789,000 points respectively, and taking on the 2nd and 3rd place. However, they were destined not to be able to stay in their positions for long. It was because Dong Huangling wasn't going to be able to keep his first place either. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The stench of blood filled the air. Feng Lin waved his hand and a pile of aberration's fingers piled up into a mountain of bones before him. The pile was 3 meters in height, taller than even himself. Feng Lin, 1.678 million points. The AI kept on flashing nonstop as it announced his score. A commotion broke out amongst the crowd. Where did this person come from? How could his score surpass Dong Huangling's? Could it be that he came out first instead? Didn't this make him the king of the solar system? Feng Lin's figure engraved into everyone's eyes, and all of them remembered him. No matter how calm Dong Huangling was, his smile had stiffened. After staying in the first place for so long, he was forcibly pulled off from the position. How could he possibly accept this? He glanced around, and his lackeys came close and passed him something. Hold on, I have more points. Dong Huangling suddenly spoke up and waved his hand, bringing out another pile of Aberration's finger bones and placing them on the ground. The AI's records for his score was immediately changed from 1.456 million to 1.817 million points. He once again surpassed Feng Lin. I had wanted to transfer these points to my friend, but now, I can only bring them out to show everyone my true strength. He stood upright and smiled, looking at Feng Lin. He's really shameless. Taking other people's scores for himself, yet making it sound as if it was a matter of fact. Eris let out a cold snort. There's no other way about it. It's the individual's freedom to transfer their scores to others. It's just that Feng Lin has transferred his to us, and that Dong Huangling acted so shamelessly. He was already in second place yet still got more points from his people. Yana said in a low voice. Feng Lin smiled and shook his head, not paying it much heed. He said indifferently, "Who's going to be the first? This is yet to be decided." What? The two ladies were both taken by surprise. Feng Lin waved his hand, and another pile of Aberration's finger bones was brought out. Over the past few days, he had been perfecting the beast-like fist art and hunting aberrations. How could he possibly not have gotten anything from that? Feng Lin, 2.072 million points. The score on the AI broke through the 2 million marks, and Feng Lin once again rose to first place. What? How many aberrations did this guy kill? Dong Huangling felt immense pressure and let out a soft bellow, "Give me all of your points." Those bootlickers were immediately thrown into a dilemma. If they were to transfer too many points, they wouldn't be able to pass the test. Don't worry. As long as you leave 5,000 points for yourself, you'll be able to secure a spot amongst the top 100. Give me all of your remaining points. After I've gotten the first place, you'll get your benefits. Dong Huangling said in a cold voice. Hearing Dong Huangling say this, those people could only helplessly and secretly transfer their points again, the points that they had accumulated through hard work. Dong Huangling, 2.602 million points. Dong Huangling's score displayed by the AI once again and surpassed Feng Lin's by over 500,000 points. There's no more chance. It's over. It seems that Dong Huangling will be the first after all. At the sight of this, everyone shook their heads, feeling that the outcome was decided. Feng Lin had been too conceited and took the risk by giving away precious points to others. It was clear that he wouldn't be able to obtain the first place now. Everyone shook their heads and started to leave as if they had already known of the final outcome and that there was nothing else to see here. Clatter, clatter, clatter. The sound of another huge pile of things dropping on the ground rang out once again. The smell of blood was overbearing. Feng Lin, 3.216 million points. The AI once again revealed a new score, completely throwing all of them into a daze. Over 3 million points. The 3 million marks were cleared just like that? This, Dong Huangling was stunned as well and gritted his teeth. How many aberrations did this guy kill? He turned his gaze around. Those bootlickers who had always been heeding his every word had all disappeared. They didn't have many points for themselves. If they were to continue giving him their points, they would really be eliminated. They still wanted to participate in the exam for the Cosmos universities. Dong Huangling found this extremely hard to accept, but there was no way he could make up for the huge difference in their score. He could only watch as Feng Lin took the first place in this test. Seeing everyone's brilliant expressions, Feng Lin let out a soft laugh. He had yet to bring out that humanoid queen's finger. If he were to take that out, his score would hit over 10 million. The reason he had hunted the humanoid queen was because he wanted to make it impossible for others to surpass him. Now that he had already done that, There wasn't a need for him to bring that out and attract hatred for no reason, creating trouble for himself. As long as his position was ascertained, it didn't matter how many points he got. Seeing his name high up in the ranking over everyone else's, Feng sighed in his heart. King of the solar system? He eventually still reached this step. Next, he would be participating in the Cosmos University's enrollment examinations. That was where the real stage across the interstellar university would be. Excellent. Congratulations, Feng. Your score has broken past year's records. The marshal from the interstellar army walked over and took a long look at Feng. Congratulations on becoming the projected top scorer in the solar system. Chapter 254, Solar System Top Scorer. Projected top scorer in the solar system? Hearing how the marshal addressed him, Feng wasn't very surprised. Instead, he found it strange. The top scorer was the top scorer. Why was there still a projected at the front? The top scorer is the top scorer. Why is there a need for the word projected? Feng asked, being neither humble nor pushy. The marshal smiled and said, "There's a reason behind this. These examinations are the gateway of top-notch Cosmos University in the interstellar space. Only the top-notch geniuses in each star region would dare to sign up for it. It wouldn't be too much to call the person who came up first as the top scorer. But this is only temporary. In order to really become the top scorer of the whole solar system, you must first survive the enrollment examinations by the Cosmos Universities. Otherwise, everything would be useless." Hearing that, Feng expression turned solemn. These words that sounded very indifferent were filled with fierce killing intent. The official exam ranking came out. Feng was first place, Dong Wangling second place, Eris third place, and Yana fourth place. The name list for the top 100 candidates were also announced, and the rest of the people were all eliminated. Only 100 out of over 10,000 candidates were left. This showed how intense the competition was. Although the rest of you have managed to survive Azura planet's brutal environment, you have been eliminated. The fortunate thing is that you've passed the Cosmos University's second round of harsh test, so the interstellar universities would be very willing to accept you, the marshal said, and announced their destinies. Having lost their opportunity to participate in the enrollment examinations for the greatest universities in the interstellar space, these people could only give up no matter how helpless they felt. Thankfully, they still had the chance to apply for the interstellar universities. It wasn't as if they left with nothing gained. However, not everyone was willing to accept this. "I can't accept this." A disharmonious, furious bellow rang out and Prince Hisello from the Heavenly King planet walked out. "Oh. What can't you accept?" the marshal spoke in a low voice. The Heavenly King planet's prince said viciously, "I had my eye on a large-scale mother nest for a while and wanted to eradicate it, but this guy secretly took advantage of the situation. This guy doesn't have the right to be in the first place." Hisello spoke up, accusing Feng. He had been one of the rare geniuses in the Heavenly King planet's royal family and had gotten into a conflict with Feng due to his feud with the two sisters. On the battlefield, his subordinates were massacred by the ultimate killer king, and he was also seriously injured, unable to recover even after a very long time had passed. In the end, he didn't manage to kill many aberrations and his score barely hit 1,000 points, thus being eliminated. How could he possibly accept this? The people on the Heavenly King planet had placed high hopes on him. If he couldn't even make it through the second round of the Cosmos University's test, his status in the royal family would immediately drop, and he would even lose his position as the crown prince. To fall into the dust from high up amongst the clouds. How could he possibly accept this? "Marshal, I know that in order to prevent unqualified people from making up the numbers, The Cosmos University's examinations have an elimination challenge system. The people who are eliminated can challenge those who rank in the top 100. If they are successful, they can take over the person's position. Hisello stared at Fong Lin coldly. So you want to do that? The marshal spoke in a deep voice. The elimination challenge system isn't something that can be used easily. As a form of protection for the candidates who are ranked in the top 100, you, as the challenger, must be able to afford a price that can captivate the other party. Otherwise, they have the right to refuse. The examination system wasn't something that could be played with easily. If a restriction wasn't implemented and anyone could be eliminated, it would be possible to challenge other people without having to pay any price. Then wouldn't the harsh and strict examinations turn out to be a joke? I agree. However, Hisello clearly harbored great hatred toward Fong Lin, feeling that Fong Lin was the one who had caused him to be eliminated. Therefore, he agreed. Seeing that, many examinees looked toward Fong Lin with strange glances. This person was the top scorer but was challenged by an eliminated trash. Would he be able to tolerate this? Would he accept the challenge or not? Fong Lin threw a cold glance toward Hisello, not paying him any heed. Only inferior people wouldn't be envied by others, let alone the fact that he had clinched the top spot. This person felt that he would take up the challenge just because it was dealt out? What a joke. He didn't even throw a glance toward Hisello. Hey bastard. Seeing that Fong Lin had completely ignored him, Hisello gritted his teeth, feeling great hatred in his heart. Would you still be able to remain so arrogant when I pull you down from first place and get you eliminated later? If you accept my challenge, I'll bring out the most precious initial grade mid-tier genetic martial art I have on me, the pure young sword controlling technique. How about it, do you dare to accept it? Hisello wore a hideous grin and said. What? Could this be the flying sword art in Huaxia's myths and legends? An initial grade mid-tier genetic martial art. To think that he's going to take out such a high-level martial art. Fong Lin's going to make a fortune. The crowd was taken by surprise, and their gazes were filled with envy and hatred when they looked toward Fong Lin. To think that there was an idiot who would present such a treasure as a gift. Why weren't they the ones to encounter such a good thing? They didn't think that a piece of trash who was eliminated would be able to win against this candidate who had taken the top position. I refuse. An ice-cold voice rang out. What? To think that he refused. Everyone looked at Fong Lin, who was wearing a cold expression. They found it unbelievable that he would miss out on this treasure that had been placed into his hands. Could it be that this guy got scared? The other examinees could not help but start to guess what happened, looking at Fong Lin with questioning gazes. They started to doubt that he had gotten first place through his own capabilities. Did he use some kind of cheating methods? Fong Lin remained indifferent. Faced with other people's suspicions, he wasn't swayed at all. He wouldn't lose anything regardless if people were to admire or humiliate him. Why would he need to care about them? He wasn't Long Outyen who would want to kill the other party's family after just being scolded. Everyone were adults, so be more mature. Fong Lin didn't even throw Hisello a glance and merely ignored his provocation. Although the pure young sword controlling technique was an initial grade mid-tier genetic martial art, it was extremely precious. However, on the path of a cultivator, the most important thing was in proficiency and not amount. Fong Lin took Sun Wukong mythological path and held the measureless divine metal cudgel. Although the pure yang sword controlling technique was a vicious killing technique in Huaxia's myths and legends, he didn't need it. It was of no attraction to him at all. He had gone through great effort to become number one. Moreover, Hisello had already been eliminated, so what rights did he have to challenge him? Fong Lin was a proud person and wouldn't lower himself to accept this person's challenge. Seeing that Feng Lin paid him no heed at all, his fellow felt as if he had been slapped in the face. Do you want a challenge? The other party isn't even going to give you an opportunity. Ignored. Completely ignored. You don't dare? A low bellow rang out from his throat. It was as if he were a wild beast that had been infuriated. This was an intelligent move to prod the other party into taking action. However, Feng Lin paid him no heed at all. Good job, Feng Lin. This person has already become a mad dog. There's no need to get into a tangle with him. Unlike how the others were doubting Feng Lin, Yana had great praises for Feng Lin's sensible move. From the beginning to the end, Feng Lin had not said a word to Hisello. He had merely treated Hisello as heir. Hisello felt as if he had tried all means possible, only to become a clown. Bastard, you're courting death. His entire body shivered and he suddenly erupted into fury, completely losing all rationality. He let out an enraged bellow and made a move without giving any heads up. 10,000 swords converged into one. He called out a sword incantation and pointed his fingers. A small sword in his sleeves turned into white light and abruptly shot out. The white light kept moving and then split into many parts, turning into countless sharp glows. They came piercing from all directions, forming a massive sword formation, and threatening to slash Feng Lin up into many pieces. Feng Lin glanced over with a gaze that was sharp as swords. He spoke up, "Who on earth gave you the courage to repeatedly challenge me?" He put out one hand and it rapidly became bigger, turning into a big hand that was the size of a small mountain. It shone in a jade-like glow, and as he grabbed out fiercely, his hand encompassed the sky. Crackle crackle. The myriad of sword light was grabbed by Feng Lin and crushed. Pft. The flying sword was destroyed and Hisello spurted out a mouthful of blood, falling back with a pale countenance and completely knocked out. The surroundings were silent and everyone was full of wariness. They had thought that Feng Lin didn't dare to accept the battle. However, they didn't expect that Feng Lin was just merely putting on a disguise that he was weak. The moment he made a move, it was earth-shaking. Although Hisello was a piece of trash who was eliminated, to think that he wasn't able to take even a single blow from Feng Lin. Just how strong was Feng Lin? His vitality was definitely at 500 points or higher. They looked at Feng Lin with extremely wary gazes, not daring to view him in contempt anymore. Right now, Feng Lin was already holding on to Hisello with one hand, as if he was holding on to a dead chicken. He went up to the marshal and said, "Marshal, this person did a sneak attack and I have subdued him. How should we deal with him?" "Just do as you wish. He's just a piece of trash." The marshal grinned and looked at Hisello with a gaze as if he was looking at trash. Despite having launched a sneak attack, he wasn't even able to take a single blow. Yet, he continued to keep on provoking the other party. There was no value in standing up for trash like him. Right now, the marshal looked at Feng Lin with a gaze full of admiration. As an examiner, who should he side with, a genius candidate or a trash candidate? Any normal person would be able to make the right choice. Hearing that, Feng Lin didn't stand on ceremony and stripped Hisello completely, taking away all of his cultivation resources and treasures. Everyone watched at the side, but no one said anything. These were Feng Lin's spoils of war. Take him away. The marshal appeared disgusted as he looked at Hisello, who was as naked as boiled chicken. He got 2 soldiers to drag him away. Thereafter, the eliminated examinees also dispersed, leaving only 100 candidates on the massive square. The marshal walked up to the group and said in a deep bellow, "Next, you'll be participating in the enrollment test for the Cosmos Universities. It's also the most top-notch interstellar college examinations where geniuses across the entire interstellar space would gather. The solar system is the most secular region across the entire interstellar space, and people here have the worst cultivation level. If you don't have any confidence, you can back out now. Otherwise, if you were to really participate in it, the competition would be extremely brutal. You might not be able to keep your life when you compete against experts in the interstellar space. All right, who is going to back out? After the marshal asked that, no one else backed off. Every candidate wore a determined expression. Having experienced so many dangers and reaching this stage with great difficulty, no one would be willing to back off. The marshal scanned the surroundings and nodded. Very good. Since no one has any regrets, then I'll tell you about the situation. The examinations for the Cosmos Universities are the greatest event for all mankind in the universe. The most top-notch geniuses are selected and the entire process would be broadcasted live. You'll need to go through many levels of selection, and each student would only have one chance. Once you fail, you'll be completely eliminated. In order to become the true victors, strength, luck, intelligence. Every factor is essential. Therefore, this examination is also called the Insane College Examinations. Chapter 255, Insane College Examinations. Insane College Examinations? Hearing what the marshal had said, a commotion broke out amongst the examinees. They wore varying expressions, including agitated, anxious, excited, and fervent. Feng Lin lowered his eyes, entering deep into thought. How crazy is this insane college examinations going to be? The marshal continued to speak up. The reason this college examination is called insane is because the examinees will freely form groups and sent into various interstellar battlefields to experience real-life combat. You'll be fighting it out with other non-human races and opponents. Each team of examinees will only have one chance. Once you fail, you'll be eliminated. It is extremely harsh. And this round of examinations will take 3 months. It'll be broadcasted live across the universe, and the real geniuses will be picked out from the crowd. Under the gazes of all interstellar mankind, no one can try to join in without real qualifications. If you wish to stand out from the rest, you'll need to rely on actual strength. Since you guys have decided not to go back, then we'll be heading straight for the exam location. Have a good rest. You'll be facing an extremely difficult journey. The marshal said this and then led his subordinates to turn and left. Feng Lin were already elite cultivators with vitality of 162 points. Why don't we form a team? Scram. You're thinking of forming a team with the top scorer with such little vitality? Feng Lin, why don't you join our team? Our team of 5 consists of elite cultivators with a vitality of 200 or higher. A group of people crowded around Feng Lin and started fighting because they wanted to form a team with him, worrying that they would lose out to others. They had their eyes on Feng Lin's powerful strength and wanted to rely on him to obtain better results in the following rounds of the examinations. Feng Lin paid them no heed. The greatness of cultivation was to constantly strive and make efforts to become stronger. These people only wished to rely on others. To him, they had no other effect other than being burdens. There's no need for that, he said with indifference and left, not giving these people a chance to continue to pester him. At this moment, 4 muscular figures walked out, blocking his way like they were a strong wall. They were Saturnians. Their skins were an ashy color that was like that of rocks, and they had bulging muscles, revealing astonishing strength. They were clearly quadruplets, bearing a resemblance to each other. Feng Lin were 4 brothers from Saturn. It just happens that we're short of 1 person in our team. This is a rare opportunity, as we wouldn't agree to let ordinary people join us. Do you want to team up with us? If we were to join forces, we'll definitely be able to make our way through the examinations. A short muscular man whose face was covered in beard walked out, and said in a stifled voice. Feng Lin didn't like how this man had spoken in a superior tone and making it sound as if he thought well of Feng Lin. That's not necessary. I already have a team I joined and I won't be troubling you. Feng Lin said calmly, rejecting them. What? You dare reject our kind intentions? The four Saturn brothers glared and surrounded him angrily. Kacha. Feng Lin's figure extended out with the wind, becoming a 5-meter-tall giant. Saturnians were prone to being short and muscular amongst humans. Right now, they appeared like children next to Feng Lin. Powers as massive as huge mountains came crashing over, and even the walls crumbled. The four brothers fell and rolled on the ground, appearing to be in a pathetic state. What? The four brothers laid on the floor while wearing dazed looks. To think that they had been crushed by someone else in strength, the area that they excelled in the most. Pa. Feng Lin's figure had gone off very far away. At the sight of this scene, the other candidates' gazes started flashing, filled with wariness. These four brothers from Saturn were no weaklings. They were quadruplets and had telepathic ability between them. When they attacked together, they acted like one and had extremely terrifying battle prowess. There were few who could be a match for them. However, right now, they were crushed using strength head-on. This Feng Lin was able to freely become bigger or smaller. What kind of ability was that? What was the gene he had awakened? What was the mythological path he took? All of these were mysteries and everyone started guessing amongst them. They felt that Feng Lin was shrouded in layers of fog, making it hard for them to see through him clearly. With Feng Lin's departure, the Greek sisters quickly followed after him. When Dong Huangling saw this, his eyes narrowed intensely. He remembered that 3 people had snatched the humanoid queen. Feng Lin was able to become bigger or smaller. Was he able to change his appearance as well? Feng Lin, congratulations on becoming the projected top scorer in the solar system. Yana smiled and offered her congratulations. Feng Lin smiled and nodded. You're too kind. The reason I can clinch the first position is also thanks to the plan and help from the 2 of you. Killing queens directly really increases the amount of points tremendously. Otherwise, it'd be very difficult for me to become first. Yana smiled and nodded, not continuing with the civilities. Instead, she asked, what happened after you snatched the humanoid queen? We haven't been able to find any trace of you over the past few days. Did you succeed? That's right. Feng Lin admitted, and didn't try to hide it. Then what about the ultimate killer king? Yana could not help but ask. Dead. Feng Lin's expression remained calm, and he said matter-of-factly. Yana's eyes contracted, filled with astonishment. Eris's expression was even more exciting. There were admiration, inability to accept this, and shock. They had only thought that Feng Lin was lucky and managed to escape from the ultimate killer king. They hadn't expected that he had killed the ultimate killer king instead. How on earth did Feng Lin do that? Feng Lin didn't say anything and the 2 ladies didn't ask either. This involved their own cultivation secrets, and asking too much was taboo. Feng Lin then spoke up again and said, smiling, the Cosmos University's official examinations will continue in small teams. It seems that we have to continue to work together again. It's just that we're short of 2 more companions. Yana also nodded and said, that's right. Cosmos University's examinations are held in actual battlefields and involve all kinds of complicated situations. Moreover, it was broadcasted live across the entire universe, and it gathered the strongest geniuses across the interstellar humans of the same age. Thus, our team's composition must be reasonable. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to adapt to the varying complicated situations and fight our way through. Yana explained with clarity in her thoughts. Feng Lin also secretly nodded upon hearing this. He then frowned and asked, although this is what we should be doing, where are we going to find the remaining 2 people from? There doesn't seem to be any examinees amongst those from the solar system who are worth mentioning. We might not really need to find them from the candidates in the solar system. Yana shook her head and smiled mysteriously. You're saying? Feng Lin realized this as well. That's right. The solar system is the region with the weakest cultivation levels and has the least number of geniuses. The Cosmos University's examinations cover the entire interstellar space, and we can search for the remaining 2 companions from the candidates across the interstellar space. Yana explained. So that's it. Hearing that, Feng Lin felt that it made a lot of sense. Things were decided just like that. Very soon, the star warship trembled and entered a wormhole, traversing across space. The 3 of them went back to their respective rooms to rest. After the time for 1 round of cultivation. The star warship trembled once again and the marshal's voice rang out inside it. We've arrived at the location of the examinations. All examinees come out. Feng Lin met up with the Greek sisters and they headed out, looking out from the cabin's windows. Their eyes immediately narrowed into a slit, their gazes filled with astonishment. It was an endless stretch of a dark starry sky. An artifact that was formed from 9 huge planets connecting together appeared right before their eyes. The object floated quietly, spinning non-stop. 9 planets connected like a chain of pearls. From the bottom to the top, the planets became increasingly smaller, forming an upright pyramid in the starry sky. At the very top, there was a green life planet. At the very bottom level, there were fixed stars that were over 100 times bigger and were burning in blazing flames. Marvelous! A series of gasping sounds rang out in the surroundings. A fanatic voice resounded in every examinee's ears. Welcome to the starry space golden pyramid. Chapter 256, Strong. Strong. Huaxia. 9 planets connected like a chain of pearls. A formless and immaterial light was restrained by an unknown prowess of the universe, turning into a chain and connecting the planets. The structure of a pyramid was presented and could be called a great work of art. The eyes of the solar system's candidates kept on widening uncontrollably. They were extremely astonished. The interstellar space was far too big. There were over 400 million stars alone in the galaxy, and the Sun was merely one of them. In the vast universe, the solar system was merely like a drop of water in the ocean. It was the most secular corner in the interstellar space. The great distances in the universe resulted in both information and technology to fall behind greatly in the secular solar system. Upon seeing this miracle in the universe, everyone was taken by great astonishment from the bottom of their hearts. Welcome to the starry space golden pyramid. The marshal walked over with fervent in his eyes. This is our destination. All the genius candidates in the entire interstellar space were gathered here. They then set off to enter the examination hall, respectively. Our arrival timing is just right. The examination will be starting very soon. Stand in order, the star warship will be landing shortly. The moment the marshal said this, the star warship let out a trembling sound and gradually headed for the planet that was at the highest point of the starry space golden pagoda. The closer they got, the more everyone could witness how majestic the pyramid that was formed from the connection of 9 planets was. The entire galaxy had been artificially modified. What were the strong powers of heaven and earth? This was it. The more Feng Lin looked at it, the stronger the fervent in his gaze. What kind of power did it take to achieve this? Was it technology? Or cultivation? Right now, as the warship got closer, Feng Lin and the others noticed that there were also other spaceships coming from all directions. They were of varying shapes, and had come from every corner of the universe. The Cosmos Universities were the greatest universities amongst all. The college examinations held each year was also a great event for all of humanity. All the young geniuses across the universe were gathered and competing with each other. This was where the essence of all mankind was at. With a rumble, the warship broke through the atmospheric layer and a green planet appeared before them. The doors to the warship opened and fresh air blew in, causing them to feel very refreshed. There was a cooling aura permeating the air, opening up one's pores, and making their genetic power more active. Spiritual chi of heaven and earth. These examinees knew their stuff, and were all taken by astonishment. It was a phenomenon where spiritual chi of heaven and earth was highly active and present in large amounts, being omnipresent like air. In ancient times, the solar system was also once filled with spiritual chi of heaven and earth. However, as the civilizations of myths and legends got cut off, it entered a period of degeneration, and the spiritual chi had completely dried up. Coming from the solar system to this planet with ample spiritual chi, it was as if they had come from a desert to an oasis. They felt completely relaxed, with all their pores opening up as they crazily engulfed the spiritual chi of heaven and earth. Each and every candidate was emitting strong chi, and their vitality surged explosively. Just this short moment of engulfing spiritual chi of heaven and earth had caused their vitality to increase by at least 10 points. Feng Lin's vitality had also surged explosively by 18 points. Boom! A series of sounds that were like mountains howling or the seas bellowing rang out, surrounding everyone like tidal waves. Welcome to live broadcast for the Cosmos University's college examinations for A.C. year 9992, astronomic calendar. Every year, countless legends and legendary characters would be born here. Some people gained everything here, including the gaze of everyone in the interstellar space. Some people gained nothing here, leaving in a pathetic state. One college examination determines a person's destiny to see if they would be soaring up into the sky and stand at the very top of the starry sky, or to leave quietly, plunging to the dust at the bottom of the valley. Feng Lin looked over in the direction where the sound came from. The star warship stopped outside an open-air palace that was like the Colosseum in ancient Rome. It was over 3,000 meters tall and was like a heavenly pillar that pierced straight for the heavens. Interstellar humans wearing different clothes were seated around, and the scene was really majestic. There were several million spectators, and it was even grander than the Olympics held in ancient Earth. There were all sorts of flying devices in the air that were broadcasting the situation live. Now let us welcome the examinees from the various countries and star regions in the interstellar space. The first to enter is Huaxia Star Republic's 100,000 examinees. Enthusiastic cries rang out in the air. Roar! A series of dragon roar reverberated through the sky. The clouds seethed, and a rainbow-colored dragon broke out through the clouds. It had eagle eyes, prawns whiskers, and snake's body, a pure Huaxia dragon with scales that reflected a metallic glow. Clearly, this was a dragon-shaped space shuttle, and its long body wriggled around in the air, as if it was alive. The dragon came down from the sky, opening its big mouth and stretching out its long tongue as if they were stairs. Magnificent Huaxia started under the lead of King Wu of Zhou and King Tang of Shang. Discussing politics with officials, seeking their opinions to resolve issues peacefully. Caring for the people, with everyone in submission. The world was unified with people, with everyone in support of the king's rule. The phoenixes cried happily amongst the bamboo forest, and the white steeds ate grass leisurely in the green plains. The changes brought by great kings covered every single grass and tree in nature. The favors bestowed from the kings benefited all citizens. The cadence of Huaxia's ancient verse was read out in harmony. The voices penetrated through the sky and resonated for very long. Boom boom boom. The earth trembled, and the many footsteps sounded as if they were from one person. A group of examinees, who seemed as strong as military soldiers, stepped out from the dragon-shaped space shuttle. They wore golden and red uniforms, having black hair and eyes as well as yellow skin. These Huaxia examinees all held their heads high and chests puffed out. They wore determined gazes, emitting pride and confidence from their bones. In the interstellar era, the Huaxia Star Republic stood at the very top of the universe. It was the strongest country in the interstellar space and was also a strong pillar in mankind's fight against extraterrestrial races. Such powerful spirits, essences, and souls radiated their confidence. They were completely different from the people in Feng Lin's previous lives who idolized and were crazy over foreign trends. They resembled the soldier of the Han dynasty in ancient Huaxia. Their confidence came from their bones, and their spirit of constantly striving to better themselves came from their souls. They were like dragons. Huaxia was the descendant of dragons. Everyone from Huaxia had a dragon heir to them. 100,000 candidates entered the place uniformly with valiance and great spirit. They were like a majestic army, waiting to be inspected. Pa pa pa. Thunderous applause and stomps rang out, resounding incessantly. These are the candidates from the Huaxia Star Republic? Their disposition is too astonishing. As expected of the greatest country in the interstellar space. They are really amazing. The spectators broke into a commotion. The comments displayed on the Star Network's live broadcast were like a waterfall, covering up the entire screen. Strong, Huaxia. Long live Huaxia. Long live +1. Long live +2. Long live +100000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000000. When Feng Lin witnessed this majestic scene, a warmth which he hadn't felt for quite a while started to surge in his cold heart. Strong. Huaxia. As Huaxia's candidates walked over in long strides, the applause continued on. The voice that resonated through the skies rang out once again. Next, let us welcome the 10,000 examinees from Soviet Russia. Woola. 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 Like the tiger's roar, like the bear's howl. The land started to tremor incessantly. Many heads were raised high toward the sky, appearing unbridled. Their spines seemed as if they had been forged from steel and wouldn't bend even if the sky were to collapse. This group of students was all very tall and muscular, possessing a toned aesthetics, and filled with a burning battle will. It was as if they knew not how to submit. With each step they took, they would raise their feet high and stomp down heavily. It was as if they wanted to crush the ground. Quick, look, they are from the combat race. It's said that each adult from their tribe is all born to be warriors. They know no fear. In ancient Earth, the rest of the people would be chased by bears, but only the combat race would be the ones chasing after bears. The combat race would either be in battle or on the way to a battle. The Star Network and the spectators were filled with praises. After the combat race walked over, the United Nations of America that had a mixture of various races and skin colors followed closely behind. Then it was the Europa Alliance and the Rome Federation. The examinees from various major interstellar countries walked past, then they were followed by the smaller interstellar countries. They included the Japan Interstellar Empire, who wore samurai clothes, and the India Federation, who wore turbans. The candidates from various countries, races, and star regions appeared in succession, displaying completely different appearances. They entered uniformly into the arena and stood together, as if they were many military armies. Many chi activities mixed together and encompassed the void space. Even the air became distorted and the light rays were chaotic. Feng Lin closed his eyes and sensed around. He discovered that these examinees' cultivations were extremely high, and elite cultivators were just the average standard. There were many other auras emitted that were deep like an abyss, making one feel breathless. They were clearly grand cultivators. So strong. Even Fenglin felt tremendous pressure. Those who were grand cultivators had awakened heaven genes. In other words, mythological genes at this level could become one's actual talent and could even be inherited by one's descendants. They would be able to form a completely new race. They could really be considered demonic to be able to attain a breakthrough to this realm when they not even reached 18 years old. There would always be stronger people out there. Fenglin's gaze also deepened. The over 1 million candidates here had fought their way to this stage in the various star regions, but there were only 10,000 vacancies to the Cosmos universities. It was extremely difficult to emerge victorious in this intense competition. Finally, let's welcome the examinees from the solar system. It was finally their turn. It's our turn. Everyone exchanged a glance and their expressions were all very grim. Facing their peers from the other star regions, they felt that the differences in both their cultivation and strength were too wide. They were geniuses in the solar system, but in the massive universe, they were just mediocre talents. Under the many pairs of eyes, there was no turning back for them. They could only brace themselves and get off the star warship. The loud applause immediately came to a stop, and many gazes filled with curiosity, doubt, judgment, were cast in their way. They appeared as if they were looking down from a superior point, wanting to see through Fenglin and the other examinees. The solar system was the origins of mankind. Even though it had degenerated for a very long while, when Fenglin and the others entered the arena, the amount of attention they received did not match their strength as compared to the cases with other smaller interstellar countries or secluded regions. These are the examinees from the solar system? Their cultivation bases are too weak. There isn't even a grand cultivator amongst them. They are too weak. Well, that place is a cultivation desert, a world that's at its end. It's already not bad for these examinees to reach this level of cultivation. They've picked the best they have. The spectators started to talk amongst themselves. The on-screen comments that popped up on the Star Network didn't stop either. The solar system has really degenerated. It's already not bad if one or two of them can make it into a Cosmos university out of the 100 of them. Chances are that all of them will fail. It's such a joke. Even I'll be able to make it if it's this level. Fenglin's brows furrowed tightly. The atmosphere really wasn't good and was filled with malicious intent. The candidates from the solar system would attract attention more easily than the students from other places. However, as their cultivation environments were worse off, their cultivation standards were the lowest. This was why they would attract so much ridicule. Their flaws seemed as if they were presented on a magnifying glass and magnified many times more. Fenglin was sharp and noticed that some of the candidates from Earth were trembling. It was as if they were on the verge of collapse. He couldn't help but shake his head. Although there might be a difference in their strength, they mustn't shun off mentally. If their hearts weren't strong enough, then they would really have failed. There wouldn't be any more miracles nor any chances for the tables to turn around. Fenglin raised his head high and looked straight into the many gazes cast in his direction as he entered the arena. 1 million examinees stood in the arena. The scene was so majestic that they were like military troops. These were all rare geniuses in the interstellar space, all of them were the cream of the crop and very horrifying. They had a majestic disposition and were the elites amongst all of mankind. Since they are broadcasting this live across the interstellar space, do you think that our Father will see us? Yana asked in a soft voice. Why do we want him to see us? He's just an irresponsible guy. Eris snorted coldly. Welcome, Geniuses who have come from all corners of the Milky Way galaxy. Right now, the gazes of everyone in the interstellar space are gathered on you. You'll be participating in the A.C. Year 9992 Astronomic Calendar, Cosmos University's enrollment examinations. You'll be forming teams freely to participate in the examinations, going through 3 rounds of selection to vie for the top spot in humanities college examinations. 1 chance. Each team would only have 1 chance. Regardless of the reason, failure will result in elimination. There's no dependence on luck here. Each year, there will be a victor rising to the top position, and there would also be countless miracles where dark horses would turn out to be the unexpected winners. Everything is possible here. As long as you dare to wish for it, it can be done. This is the Insane College examinations. At this moment, a host stepped in the void and slowly descended. He was clearly a powerful cultivator as well. Excited voices rang out, bringing forth another round of thunderous applause in the arena. This was the mainstream world amongst interstellar humans. People were like dragons, and technology was extremely well developed. It was a great civilization that included the entire Milky Way galaxy. It was an unprecedented era of prosperity. Feng Lin stood in a secluded corner amongst the candidates from the solar system. It was as if he was someone who had come from the countryside and arrived in a city, being able to broaden his horizons. Based on the tests from the latest technology, we've discovered over 1,000 extraterrestrial races in the Milky Way galaxy. The laws in the universe are that of the dark laws of the jungle. These extraterrestrial races threaten humanity's existence. Let me tell you the content of the examinations that you'll be taking. You'll be sent to actual interstellar battlefields, make to kill each other, and then the final victor will emerge. There is a total of 3 rounds. The host's voice resounded clearly next to everyone's ears. It was filled with encouraging excitement, but the content was very brutal. The first round is the interstellar debarkation battle, the second round is the interstellar warfare battle, and the third round is the elites ranking battle. The examinations will go on for a total of 3 months. You'll be experiencing all sorts of difficult and harsh environments. Thus, you must grasp every second and progress rapidly. Once you fail, you'll be completely eliminated and you might even face the dangers of death. Only those who can fight their way through are the geniuses that are required by mankind. They'll obtain the opportunity to continue studying and improve themselves in the Cosmos universities. Now, let the examinations officially begin. Chapter 257. There are always stronger people out there. The 3 rounds of examinations are 3 life and death trials. They will be held in actual interstellar battlefields that are extremely dangerous. Feng Lin, if we wish to pass the trials safely, we must make our preparations. Yana sounded extremely grim. After the opening ceremony ended, Feng Lin and the other examinees were brought to their own rooms, waiting for the examinations to officially start. Feng Lin's team came together to discuss what they should do now. The examinations will officially start in another 10 days, and all candidates must form teams of 5 by themselves. We only have 3 members now. So, we must find the other members as soon as possible, said Feng Lin. That's right. Yana nodded. The composition of the 5-man team must be reasonable with our abilities making up for each other's shortcomings. This will allow us to deal with various complicated situations in the universe. Otherwise, they'll only be burdens. Yana was clear-headed as usual and started analyzing the situation. Based on the most common and most practical method of the battlefield, the composition of the 5-man team must include 1 long-distance attacker, 1 strong frontal attacker, 1 power erupting style user, 1 scouting and control style user, and the most important all-rounder. With that, when the 5-man team takes on fights head-on, They can attack from far and from up front, allowing for easy adaptation regardless of how complicated the situation is. What type do the three of us belong to? Which two other are we lacking? Feng Lin wondered. My ability is mind control, so I belong to the scouting and control type. I can scout the battlefield situation at any moment, gather information, and perform mind control to a certain area using mental storm. Eris belongs to the frontal attacking type, and her tyrant aura can magnify her strength to destroy everything. Feng Lin, although I have no idea what mythological path you're taking, you have a lot of means and tricks. At the same time, you also possess both spiritual and frontal attacking abilities. You're a rare all-rounder and can support all sorts of complicated situations at any moment. With your ability, our team's structure has already started to take form. What we're lacking now is a long-distance attacker as well as a person who is a power-erupting style. Long-distance attacker can have the advantage of making the first move and attack the opponent in advance. They can attack the opponents from afar and catch them unaware. The user of the power-erupting style is capable of exploding with strength in frontal battles. They can instantly take away 1 to 2 opponents, reducing the numbers of enemies on the other side and giving us an advantage. In the composition of the 5-man team, everyone will have a unique ability and positioning. If they were to cooperate, they can work as a single entity. Yana explained and analyzed everything from different levels. But where can we find these people? Feng Lin asked again. The three of them took 3 of the top 4 places amongst the candidates from the solar system. The other candidates weren't of much help to them, and they could only search for their other team members from the interstellar candidates. However, there were 1 million candidates from various countries and star regions in total. How could they understand the information of all the candidates within 10 days and find suitable people from amongst them? This wasn't a simple task. Since the interstellar college examinations are broadcasted live across the entire interstellar space, why haven't we heard anything about it from the solar system? This caused our understanding of the examinations and the examinees to be extremely low. We're being too much on the passive end. Feng Lin frowned deeply. Yana smiled bitterly. It's because the broadcasting rights are too expensive. It costs over 1 trillion star coins and isn't something that a deteriorated star region like the solar system can afford to purchase. Feng Lin and Yana exchanged a helpless glance. This was really a sad story. However, at this moment, Yana pursed her lips and smiled. Have you forgotten what I do? I told you previously that I'm an interstellar hacker and a great one too. As long as I can break the firewall of the Interstellar Cultivation Association via the Star Network, it won't be difficult to get our hands on the information about these examinees. Oh. Feng Lin appeared a little doubtful. There'll be problems if we're caught, right? There won't be. Yana wore a faint smile, like a weasel that had stolen a chicken. The examination is a battlefield. This is the interstellar era and all battles are that of information and networking. There's nothing that can't be used. All methods and means are encouraged. If you can really break the Interstellar Cultivation Association's firewall and obtain all the examinees' information in advance, it'll just be one of your abilities. The Interstellar Cultivation Association won't interfere too much into it. Of course, the prerequisite is that you're able to do it. I see. Feng Lin nodded. It was really a case of all is fair in war. The battlefields in Interstellar era naturally didn't have too many old rules. As long as one could emerge victorious, it didn't matter what means they used. Right now, Yana didn't hide anything from Feng Lin. She brought out her interstellar hacker and started to fiddle with it. She logged into the Interstellar Cultivation Association's website, searched for data loopholes, and broke through the firewall through these loopholes. Everything was done in one go. She seemed very familiar with hacking, and this was clearly not the first time she had done something like this. Astronomical data came pouring down, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1. The numbers kept on flashing non-stop like the immeasurable stars in the night sky. Feng Lin only took a glance and felt very giddy, not daring to take another look. On the contrary, Yana seemed to be very focused. Her gaze was scorching, revealing her inner confidence. It seemed that rather than actual combat, this was the battlefield she truly specialized in. The intangible world of data was a world she could freely roam. The Cultivation Association increased the amount of protections on the examinees applying for the Cosmos universities. I need some time to get through them, Yana said seriously with confidence brimming in her voice. Although she needed time, it wasn't too difficult for her. Professional tasks will be left for professionals to handle. Moreover, Feng Lin didn't specialize in hacking skills. His specialization was in combat. Want to have a spar? He threw Eris an invitation. Who's afraid of you? Eris didn't cower and appeared to be raring to go. Dong dong dong. Very soon, the sounds of punches and kicks colliding rang out in the training room. Loud booms rang out, and the room kept on trembling. Hearing the sounds, Yana shook her head slightly and did not pay them any heed. She continued to dive deep into the world of data, with fervent and excitement flashing in her eyes. Tyrant Rush Punch. Tai Chi Explosive Fist. Feng Lin's figure moved slightly, and he sent a punch smashing out with a jade-like glow. The two fists collided and air currents seethed. Feng Lin's body shook a little and the huge fist in the sky also dissipated once again, rapidly turning into gas that once again circled around Eris. Feng Lin could not help but feel admiration. As expected of one on the Ares mythological path, the god of war amongst Greek's 12 main gods. She had tremendous potential. The tyrant aura was immaterial but could condense into a material form, freely taking on various forms. It was very agile and could deal with all sorts of complicated situations, possessing both the attributes of energy and matter. It also had a hint of energy wave that could shake one's heart. It was really a type of perfect, powerful, and mysterious ability. Tyrant Aura Battle Statue. Eris hadn't thought of being able to defeat Feng Lin with a single move. After her initial attempt to probe, she immediately used her ultimate move, turning her tyrant aura into a material battle statue. It was as if a giant had risen from the ground. Big. 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 Silver light flashed on Feng Lin's forehead and the heart monkey force reinforced his body. His figure rapidly grew bigger, turning into an actual giant that was over 10 meters tall. Boom boom boom. The two giants collided, hitting each other as stifled sounds rang out. Feng Lin also rapidly adapted to the violent strength he had gotten after his vitality increased explosively. All right, the two of you should have depleted enough of your excessive energy by now. Come and take a look at this data. At this moment, Yana spoke up. It was only then did Feng Lin and Eris stop. They wiped off their sweat and headed over. Yana's identity microchip projected a piece of information. The firewall of the Cultivation Association's website had been broken through, and many examinees' data and information were obtained. Name, Orlando Caesar. Age, 17. Background, Rome Federation, Caesar Planet. Cultivation, Grand Cultivator. Vitality, 1/500 plus. A young man with blonde hair was displayed in the full-body projection. His eyes were like that of an eagle and were looking down at a slightly slanted angle. He emitted an arrogance that came from the depths of his bones and looked at others with a gaze as if he was surveilling his own subjects. Grand Cultivator. If there were no comparisons, one might not know the difference. However, the moment there were comparisons, the difference might bring about a shock. Feng Lin's eyes narrowed. To think that the vitality of this examinee, Orlando Caesar, was above 1,500 points. It was 3 times that of his own. This was really an exaggeration. From just the statistics, it was 3 times as much. The difference in the actual strength and speed when making moves would be even greater. Their overall strength was like that of heaven and earth, a one-sided crush. Name, Arfis Ivanovich. Age, 18. Background, Soviet Russia, ice polar planet. Cultivation, Grand Cultivator. Vitality, 1,600 plus. It was a wild-looking young man with white-colored hair. He had a height of over 2.5 meters, and his upper body was bare, revealing a lot of scars. He was abnormally tough-looking, like a human-shaped polar bear. His eyes were ice-cold, as if he was choosing people to engulf, wanting to tear apart everything before his eyes. As expected of someone from the combat race, he was born with a ferocious aura. As they continued to scroll through, a Japanese man wearing samurai clothes appeared. He was wielding a katana and looked very cold and sharp. It was as if he was an unsheathed sword that would kill at any moment. He was clearly a vicious character who wasn't easy to get along with. Name, Matsushita Shinoi. Age, 18. Background, Japan Interstellar Empire. Cultivation, Grand Cultivator. Vitality, 1,800 plus. The information of strong examinees from various forces in the interstellar space was brought out, and all of those who ranked at the top were Grand Cultivators with the vitality of 1,500 or higher. These were the true top-notch geniuses across the entire interstellar humans. Each of them was stronger than Feng Lin, and there would always be someone stronger than the previous one. Feng Lin knew that there was a vast difference between himself and these people. They weren't on the same level. This was even more so for Eris and Yana. Eris's vitality was slightly over 300, and Yana was only an interstellar cultivator with a vitality of over 70. Compared to these real geniuses in the interstellar space, they were as insignificant as ants. The 3 of them might be able to rank at the top in the solar system, but they would be considered the lowest-level existences in the massive universe. Even the ruler of the ants would merely be an ant before lions and tigers. They would be easily crushed. Thus, the only way they could secure a spot in this brutal examination was by getting stronger. The examinations were getting increasingly interesting. While bringing pressure to Feng Lin, they also brought about a huge challenge. Facing challenges head-on and then winning them. Feng Lin believed that he would also go through overwhelming change on a qualitative level. The 3 months' time would be sufficient for him to undergo a complete transformation. As the examinee's information kept on being revealed, a Huaxia young man who had yellow skin and black hair appeared before them. This young man appeared outstanding, had sharp brows and a vigorous aura. He was clearly not an ordinary person, but more like a divine dragon who had taken the form of a human. In the words of photographers in ancient times, this person could be said to have the disposition of a person in power. Name, Feng Futian. Age, 18. Background, Huaxia Star Republic, born to Feng clan's direct line of descent. Cultivation, Grand Cultivator. Vitality, 188 plus. This Feng clan wasn't the same Feng clan of Earth. Feng Lin immediately realized that the Feng clan mentioned here was the Feng clan's interstellar ancestral clan. Being a Grand Cultivator with a vitality of over 2,000. Was this the real strength of someone born to the Feng clan's direct line of descent? If that was the case, then that Feng Xiaoyu was really a good-for-nothing bastard. It was no wonder he ran to the solar system and put up airs. He was merely a nobody. This person's surname is also Feng, and he bears a resemblance to you. Eris stared at Feng Futian and exclaimed. At the sight of this scene, Yana revealed a thinking expression. Feng Lin didn't care too much about it. Feng was Huaxia's first ancient surname, inheriting Fuxi's blood lineage. They took Fuxi mythological path. Fuxi was Huaxia's founding ancestor, the heavenly sovereign of the three sovereigns. This mythological path had tremendous potential. It was in no way weaker than Sun Wukong mythological path, and could possibly be stronger. For Feng Futian to have such a strong vitality, it meant that he was definitely the person who could progress the furthest in Fuxi mythological path. How strong was he? How many secrets to the Fuxi's myths and legends did the Feng clan's interstellar ancestral clan inherit? Everything was a mystery, and he would only be able to find out more when they exchanged blows head-on. Seeing that Yana was still displaying the information of these geniuses in detail, Feng Lin shook his head and decided not to continue looking at them. All right. Yana, these geniuses have a vast difference from us. They won't care about our team. If they were to come, they'd be the one taking the lead, and the three of us might become their cannon fodder instead. It'll be even more dangerous. The important thing now is to find suitable candidates for the remaining 2 spots. Feng Lin was very rational. Yana gave it some thought and nodded. You're right. I've concluded 3 requirements for the remaining 2 candidates. Firstly, it's best if they are elite cultivators. We mustn't take in interstellar cultivators. Secondly, the transcendent grade gene they awakened must be high grade 1 or even better. Otherwise, their abilities would be too weak and they'd just be a burden. Thirdly, they mustn't have unbridled characters and refuse to abide by the decided tactical commands. That'll just drag us down. Feng Lin nodded. Yana's thoughts were very clear. These 3 requirements were best suited to their team's current situation. Solar System Divine Continent Team is sincerely recruiting 2 team members. The requirements are elite cultivators, one being a far-distance attacker and the other being one who specializes in power eruption style. Interested parties are welcome to meet us for a discussion. Yana sent out the request to recruit team members with their team's name, but they didn't receive any reply even after a very long time. It was as if the request had sunk into the sea, not even creating any ripple at all. Chapter 258, Pointing out the correct path. Just the opening move was already so difficult. The reason why they had 10 days of rest before the next exam was because the exam candidates could use this time to adjust themselves to their peak states and formed their own teams. In 10 days, if the members of their teams weren't fully filled, Feng Lin's group of 3 could only participate with 3 people. And with it, they would be at a great disadvantage when it came to certain situations. The atmosphere turned heavy. After some time, Feng Lin spoke to break the silence. He had a self-mocking smile on his face. Seems like those geniuses in the universe looked down on the exam candidates from the solar system. This was a helpless reality. Because they originated from the solar system, they were naturally looked down upon by others. Those people lack judgment. Eris snorted, in the future, I will make them regret. At this moment, Yana also shook her head and started to blame herself. Sigh, you 2 are cultivators whose strength couldn't be considered weak even in the universe. I'm the one who burdened you 2. Don't think like this, Feng Lin spoke in a low voice. A proper and capable team requires all sorts of abilities to fit in together. Combat strength isn't the only criteria. Your sensitivity and control over information can allow our team to grasp the initiative in any situation. It's only that those people have no idea. You must know that Athena is one of the 12 main gods in Greek mythology, and her mythological path can be considered a paragon mythological path. If you continue to walk on her path, your future is boundless. No ordinary people can be compared to you. Hence, compared to others, you are actually extremely important to our team and not a burden at all. He spoke the facts bluntly and didn't take Yana as a burden at all. These were the true thoughts in his heart. Yana stared at the serious look on Feng Lin's face in astonishment. Her face blushed, and no one knew what she was thinking. At the side, Eris's eyes were wide open. She glanced at her elder sister and Feng Lin while a puzzled look appeared on her face. Her gaze was filled with wariness and hostility, as though her beloved sister was going to get taken away. Feng Lin was stunned by her expression. Ding, ding, ding. At this moment, a sound echoed from his ID microchip. There was a reply to their invitations. Yana had a look of joy. She clicked it open, and an extremely arrogant-looking face instantly appeared. It was actually an Indian with a turban. His eyes shone with a bright light as he started to speak with a thick accent. You bunch of trash from the solar system. You should know that we Indians are the descendants of Lord Brahma. Wanting to recruit me with your cultivation bases is simply an insult to me. You all don't know the immensity of the heavens and earth. If others learned of this, I, Sing Nero, would lose all my face. If you guys don't give enough compensation today, don't think that I will let this matter rest. He kept blabbering, trying to extort Feng Lin's group. Gotcha. Feng Lin's patience ran thin and directly closed the hologram. He coldly spoke, ignore the stupid guy. The personalities of some people are always like this. They don't have the strength and only know how to brag. He is just an interstellar cultivator despite having such a good environment to cultivate. If he dares to appear before me, I'm going to make his head explode with my fist. The mythological path the ultimate killer king was on actually originated from India. Since Feng Lin could kill him, how would he care about this idiot? Machim. Feng Lin's words were a little exaggerated, yet it caused the two sisters to feel comfort. After that, more and more replies were sent back to them. But without exception, all were rejections. Those with better manners simply rejected, but most of the replies were filled with a mocking tone. These people didn't even ask what Feng Lin's group's cultivation level was. The moment they saw that they were from the solar system, they instantly despised them. A thorough and complete contempt. If one's star system was a backwater region, they would surely be despised. This was an eternal, unchanging truth. The solar system was simply too low in level. This was why everyone else despised the people in there. This was a reality that filled them with helplessness. Yana kept sending out invitations, but none of them agreed. Although their team lacked 2 more slots, these slots were extremely hard to fill. The expressions of Feng Lin's group of 3 were extremely ugly. They felt that this was extremely humiliating. There are over 1 million candidates from the universe. We can search patiently and will surely find suitable people to join us, Yana spoke. Her tone was filled with an unwillingness to give up now. Feng Lin didn't have much hope in this method. It felt like searching for a needle in a haystack. Rather than being passive, why didn't they be more active and strengthen their cultivation bases instead? The phoenixes stayed on the phoenix trees. After them, hundreds of birds would fly there to worship the place. There's no need to waste time, Feng Lin calmly spoke. Rather than seeking help from others, why don't we enhance our strength? There are only 10 days before the exam starts, and I already have some ideas about who to pick with regards to the 2 additional slots for our team. Oh. Yana was a little shocked. She didn't know how Feng Lin could be so confident. Feng Lin smiled, but he didn't explain. He continued, Yana, you are walking on Athena mythology path, and you are already very close to the limits of the interstellar cultivators. Why don't you continue trying to break through? Once you succeeded, you would become an elite cultivator. This is the most important thing. As for me and Eris, We have to do our best to increase our vitality stats. If we are not strong enough, no matter how well we try to sell ourselves, no one would look up to us. Yana nodded, knowing that Fenglin was right. But she furrowed her brows as though she was hesitating to say something. What's wrong? Fenglin's sharp senses naturally noticed her change of emotions. After cooperating for such a long time, Fenglin couldn't be considered an outsider. Thus, Yana didn't attempt to conceal things from him. Since you have already guessed that I'm walking on Athena mythological path, I will tell you the truth. Athena is the goddess of wisdom from Greek mythology. All this while, I've been using the mythology deduction method to reenact Athena's path, yet I feel that something is missing. Maybe my intelligence isn't high enough, and so I have no way to trace back the mythological source deeper. It's that father of ours that is to blame. He only left behind the Athena mythological path, but provided no guidance. After he left that behind, he vanished so quickly that we didn't even get to ask him anything. This inheritance is basically incomplete. Eris coldly snorted at the side, filled with resentment toward their father. Although the two sisters always mentioned their father, Fenglin now felt extremely curious about him. He also felt that the true reason for the bottleneck wasn't due to an incomplete inheritance, but that it was due to paragon mythological paths having their own hereditary memories. Since Yana was walking on this path, she definitely would have some clues from her hereditary memories. Since she had the mythology deduction method, she naturally could continue cultivating even if the inheritance her father had given her was really incomplete. There might be some other reasons as to why she was at a bottleneck. Fenglin stared at her sickly pale face and her fragile figure that seemed as though she would easily be blown over by a gust of wind. Suddenly, a thought flashed through his mind as he asked, "Did your intelligence already surpass the common realm since you were very young? Yet, you have never liked fighting or killing? How did you know?" Yana nodded. Eris, who was at the sides, also felt curious. Understanding shone in Fenglin's gaze. There was an ancient saying in Huaxia. People with deep emotions wouldn't live long lives. If one's intelligence is too high, they would surely harm themselves in the end. Those who were too intelligent tended to overthink, yet they failed to pay attention to their health. By constantly being in deep thinking, they would easily neglect and harm their bodies. For Yana, it was precisely because she was too intelligent since she was young and thus neglected to cultivate her strength. Although strength wasn't everything, one definitely couldn't survive without strength. One must know that to walk on the Athena mythological path, one couldn't be simply depending on wisdom and intelligence. Fenglin had a thoughtful smile on his face as he gave some pointers. Yana, you are walking astray, no longer on your mythological path. Although intelligence is important, if you don't have the strength to protect your intelligence, everything would be useless. Intelligence is the plan, and strength is the tool you use to execute the plan. Without strength, no matter how good the plan is, it's nothing but empty air. It is nice to look at, but it is of no value at all. On the path of cultivators, the heart and strength mustn't be lacking. You should know that although Athena was famous because she was the goddess of wisdom, her authority doesn't simply lie in wisdom. Her true full title is Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. Goddess of war? Impossible. Why have I never heard my father mention this before? And how did you know this? If Athena was the goddess of war, wouldn't that contradict with my mythological path of Ares, the god of war? It's impossible. The authority portfolio of gods shouldn't stack with each other. Eris instantly shook her head. This is different. Ares, the god of war's full title, is known as Ares, the god of combat and war. Notice that the word combat is before war. His authority portfolio pays more attention to cultivating one's combat prowess, while war is secondary. As for Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, she shares a part of the war portfolio with Ares as well. Fenglin spoke, opening up a new line of thought for Yana and Eris, listing out the differences between. Eris was stunned when she heard that. She didn't understand and she asked, "How did you know this?" Fenglin mysteriously smiled but didn't reply. In truth, he didn't only know that both Athena and Ares shared the War Authority portfolio. He even knew that they had once competed against each other over a different authority portfolio and started a divine war. Ultimately, because Athena's authority portfolio of war consisted of the art of warfare and military training, she used her brilliant tactics and managed to win against the barbarians of Ares's army, obtaining the major portion of the War Authority portfolio. Hence, this was why he could tell that Yana was walking erroneously on her path based on her performance. She focused too much on intelligence, and it was tough for her to break through to become an elite cultivator. This might be the reason why. Goddess of War? Comparatively, Eris was puzzled. However, Yana thought deeper. She seemed to have understood something as her expression changed. She hurriedly stood up and went back to her residence to immediately enter seclusion. After Fenglin pointed out the correct path, she felt that the fog in her vision had cleared and she could see a new land. She had confidence in being able to break through soon. "Elder sis, what is going on?" Eris was still puzzled. "Don't worry, Yana must have gained some new insights. I believe a newly evolved cultivator would soon appear in our team." Fenglin smiled and passed 10 small bottles over. "What are these?" Eris asked. "These are some genetic potions named the Transcendent Holy Water. They are of the low martial tier and flawless grade," Fenglin replied. "Their effect is immediate and very apparent. These genetic potions can assist both of you during a breakthrough and cause your vitality stats to increase." "You are even a geneticist?" Eris stared at him in shock, feeling that Fenglin was getting more and more unfathomable, like he was shrouded in countless secrets. Fenglin didn't explain in detail. He merely smiled and went into the cultivation room as he started cultivating again. "Next, I'm going to put in all my effort in cultivation to increase my vitality stats and to prepare for the unexpected. You should do the same as well." After that, the door of his cultivation room closed and no more sound could be heard. Fenglin sat on the ground and modulated his breathing, sinking into contemplation. Spiritual Stone Monkey Gene X10 plus Beast King Gene X10 equals Monkey King Gene. The path for the Spiritual Stone Monkey Gene had been extremely clear since the beginning. He could simply just go with the flow. But for the Beast King Gene's genetic tree, up until now, Fenglin had only awakened one of the most basic bloodthirst gene. There were still many other genes he hadn't awakened yet. The secrets of Paragon mythological paths existed in hereditary memories. Next, what he needed to do was to use his memories as a way to reverse and trace the source of all the other genes, awakening them together in a single attempt. With this aim in mind, Fenglin gradually closed his eyes, his heart entered a state of focus. In an instant, his consciousness sank into an endless tunnel of darkness as he fell into it. Time was flowing slowly and a bright light shone all of a sudden. Fenglin didn't know when it happened. But when came to his senses, he was already in the form of a golden-furred monkey, stretching himself on a mountain peak as though he had just woken up. Chapter 259, What Does It Mean to Be the Monkey King? His golden eyes darted about. There was initially a layer of mist, but they gradually regained clarity. Fenglin squatted on the cliff as he stared at the familiar yet strange surroundings. After a while, he confirmed that he had transformed into a spiritual stone monkey and come to the illusionscape formed by his memories. This was the Flower Fruit Mountain. Flowers bloomed through the year, and the 4 seasons cycled through normally. The spirit energy here was extremely concentrated, with birds, beasts, fish and bugs around. It was a place filled with vitality and a sense of auspiciousness, like paradise in the mortal realm. He stood up and began strolling around. The flow of time in this dimension was different from the real world. It was much slower. He had enough time to find the truth about the ancient mythology path and searched for the secrets of Sun Wukong's growth. Tigers, leopards, panthers, wolves, eagles, condors, sparrows, and swallows. All sorts of living creatures flew through the air and walked on the earth. This lone island seemed to be an independent region cut off from the rest of the world. It was its own heaven and earth, and even seemed a little magical. Feng Lin roamed the mountains freely. When he was thirsty, he would drink some of the sweet spring water. When he was hungry, he would pluck some fresh peaches. He was carefree and unrestrained like a demon born from nature. However, he didn't forget his purpose for entering the illusionscape even after transforming into a monkey. If his spirit was lost in here, he would never be able to exit. Cultivation might provide one with a great fortune, but also a great danger. Each step on the path was filled with thorns. Only by guarding one's original heart and relentlessly advancing would one be able to succeed. Feng Lin leaped around nimbly, checking each corner of the flower fruit mountain and trying to find traces of his mythological path that might exist here. However, he didn't find any clues no matter how long he searched. He had to scrap it and start all over again. He truly became that newly birthed spiritual stone monkey and retraced his earlier steps. Changes are a fixed law, but they are also like dreams and froth. Yet, Feng Lin could clearly see through it. He was Feng Lin, he wasn't Sun Wukong. The mythological path was just an example, and one mustn't completely walk the old pathway. As to why he had not discovered the truth yet, it must mean that there was still something Feng Lin hadn't discovered. There was no calendars in the mountains, so no one could account for the changing of dates. He simply did his best to search. Without realizing it, a day soon passed by. The night came, the moon was high in the sky, and gleaming stars were everywhere. The atmosphere was very tranquil. Under the silver moonlight, the waves of the ocean splashed about. The entire flower fruit mountain was engulfed by a screen of light. Feng Lin squatted on the mountain peak. His vision covered the sky, the sea, and the earth. He seemed to be in a lost state while staring at them. That skinny figure looked as though he wanted to fuse with the heavens and earth. There was an incomparable sense of harmony with him and nature. He inclined his head and stared at the sky. From the depths of his eyes, a golden light started glimmering as his gaze pierced through the stars. Along with the transformation, his spirit force and perception stretched out endlessly to encompass all things. For a while, Feng Lin only felt his spirit force surging upward without end as he became one with heaven and earth. Astrology, geography, the shifting of stars, all the changes was accurately captured by his perception, and he knew everything. In fact, he even felt that as long as he had a single thought in his mind, he would be able to change the constellations. Feng Lin took a deep breath and stared at the sparkling stars again. The essence of the countless constellations in the sky flooded into him like birds returning to their forest. That skinny figure actually absorbed all of it and slowly recovered its original appearance, a spiritual stone monkey that had radiant golden fur. The spiritual stone monkey was a spiritual life form nurtured by heaven and earth. It had quick wits and was able to sense the changes in fate. In this regard, nothing could escape his perception, even things as major as stars shifting or things as minor as a blade of grass. This was what capable of transformation, knowing astrology and geography, and capable of shifting the stars meant. As he became one with heaven and earth, he transformed into the heart monkey. Feng Lin's proficiency in his abilities was enhanced by a level. His body was gradually cloaked in treasured light as he absorbed the spiritual energy of heaven and earth to temper himself. He even gave off a faint celestial air while being completely immersed within this sensation. All of a sudden, Feng Lin opened his eyes and that wondrous state ended. At this moment, he saw a pair of crimson eyes staring fixedly at him. Low-sounding growls could be heard. Under the illumination of the silvery moonlight, a gigantic figure filled with spots walked out from the darkness. It was actually a leopard. However, this leopard seemed to be as large as an elephant and had extremely sharp fangs and a malevolent aura. Its eyes were as red as blood and auspicious black-colored cheek covered it. This wasn't an ordinary leopard, it was a monster. However, it didn't transform. Demonic beast. Feng Lin narrowed his eyes. He noticed that this leopard was a cultivating demonic beast. Right now, the eyes of it were filled with greed when it looked at him. It was like this leopard was staring at a supremely valuable treasure, and it wanted nothing more than to devour him. Feng Lin's heart sank. He knew that earlier when he was absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, including that of the stars, he must have inadvertently revealed traces of his aura and recovered the original appearance of a spiritual stone monkey. As a spiritual creature birthed by heaven and earth, if he was devoured by other demonic creatures, he would be like a tonic that allowed them to evolve, greatly increasing their chances to attain the Tao. Before Sun Wukong grew up, he once had to fight for his survival in the wilderness. He must have suffered countless difficulties. Maybe what he was experiencing now was merely one of the difficult things Sun Wukong had faced in the past. Roar! The demonic leopard stared at Feng Lin, radiating a brutal and cold feeling. It was waiting for a chance to pounce over and tear him to pieces. Although this was in his memories, things that happened here might be a reality. If he was devoured by the demonic leopard, he didn't know what consequences would there be. Maybe the inheritance would be severed off completely, and he would be stuck at his current level forever, unable to advance an inch further. Feng Lin calmed himself down and entered a state of focus. Finally, the leopard could no longer suppress its urges. It roared and lunged over. Its claws reeked of blood, and the demonic aura surrounding it was like dark clouds. Feng Lin didn't retreat, but chose to advance and meet it head-on instead. The demonic leopard was extremely fierce. Its demonic aura covered it and empowered its attacks. Although Feng Lin didn't have any techniques in this form, he had a genuine spiritual stone monkey's body. His body was as tough as steel and rock, and he also had boundless strength as well as heart monkey force, allowing his body to transform freely. He unleashed his self-created beast-like fist art and displayed the wonders of 100 beasts, fighting close combat with the leopard and punching it every moment. Although the demonic leopard was fierce, it hadn't cultivated itself to the point where it could transform and become a true demon. It could only use the most basic demonic techniques, and the majority of its combat strength stemmed from close combat such as claws attacks. How could it be Feng Lin's opponent then? Roar! All of a sudden, thunderous roars of pain rang out through the mountain, startling the desolate region. The ordinary birds and beasts were all startled and the scene became extremely chaotic. On a mountain peak, a skinny figure that exuded pride and wildness could be seen. His golden fur was matted with blood, there was a sense of ruthlessness radiating from it. Feng Lin's eyes were crimson. It took a long time before they reverted to their original golden color. Some hidden memory suddenly awakened in his mind. Many scenes from ancient times flashed through his vision. He saw a monkey that had just been fighting against 100 beasts, struggling for survival as an epiphany filled his heart. The memory art wasn't so simple. If he wanted to dig out the inheritance from the mythological path, he had to appear within the memories as an incarnation of Sun Wukong and personally experience everything Sun Wukong had experienced before. Also, he could truly gain insights about the true essence of the great sage will. If he purposely distanced himself from this and tried to search for the inheritance, he would fail for sure. The memory illusionscape was as vast as an ocean. Looking for the inheritance felt like looking for a particular drop of water in it. Guarding and maintaining one's original heart while experiencing whatever Sun Wukong had experienced before was the true method of digging out the inheritance. Upon understanding this point, Feng Lin decisively acted. After this, he truly became a newly born stone monkey and roamed the world of the flower-fruit mountain. Amidst the wind and rain, he continued alone. He braced himself during the savage winds as well as the fierce storms. Under the blazing sun, he fought against 100 types of beasts while he constantly searched for fresh water, experiencing what it was like to fight for his survival in the wilderness. During the bone-chilling winter, he had to endure the naked cold. His furs were frozen into crystals. After this process, he gradually experienced the cruelty of nature. That stubborn stone monkey that didn't fear anything at the start finally learned caution. The tougher the journey was, the stronger Sun Wukong would grow in the future. What did it mean to be the heart monkey? It meant that the vaster one's heart was, the greater one's strength would be. The autumn faded and spring arrived. The snow and ice melted. Walala. The sound of water flowing startled Feng Lin, who was sleeping inside a cave. He moved toward the source of the sound, as a majestic sight appeared in his vision. The water flowed down with thunderous force, forming a water curtain. The flow continued unabated and formed a huge lake of water down below. Ripples manifested unceasingly as the water flowed toward the ocean. Chi, quickly look. There's a waterfall there. Good, let us go take a shower. Spring is finally here. The winter has caused some of us to be frozen solid. Beasts had their own speeches. Naturally, so did monkeys. Chattering noises drifted over, and Feng Lin randomly understood. From far away, a group of wild monkeys appeared. They leaped on trees to pluck fruits, ran around in the sand, chasing insects and bugs, catching and biting lice, using fur as coats, carefree and unrestrained. They were one with nature. After roaming the flower-fruit mountain for so long, I finally encountered this bunch of monkeys. In the future, when the spiritual stone monkey became the Monkey King, his subordinates were naturally monkeys as well. In that case, these monkeys here, Feng Lin's heart stirred as his eyes narrowed. Monkeys were very active creatures. After they finished playing, they pushed each other and came to the cave near the waterfall as they started bathing. When they saw the majestic waterfall, all of them were extremely excited and clapped while shouting loudly, "Good water, good water." Only to see. A white rainbow caused thousands of waves to surge. The ocean breeze shone along with the bright moonlight. The cold air flowed around the green jade peaks. The intense flows of the waterfalls formed a water curtain. A white-furred old ape walked out. Whoever is capable enough to find the source and come out uninjured, all of us will pay obeisance to him and take him to be our king. After 3 rounds of exclamation, everyone agreed. However, no monkey stepped out. All of them had fear on their faces. The water curtain formed by the flow of the waterfall was extremely large, almost 1,000 feet wide. Let alone a monkey, even if a tiger were to rush in, it would be instantly crushed by the huge pressure. There were naturally no monkeys who dared to attempt this. The white-furred ape felt disappointment when he saw this. But at this moment, a voice rang out, "I'll go in." The group of monkeys turned to the voice before they started laughing. These monkeys had always lived in groups and would often eat immortal herbs and celestial fruits on the flower-fruit mountain. Their fur was extremely bright, and now when they suddenly saw a new monkey whom they were not acquainted with, the one with fur that was covered in dust, all of them laughed in derision. Where did this wild monkey appear from? He looked so skinny and frail. He must have been living a pathetic life. Does he really want to dream about jumping past the water curtain and becoming our king? I'm going to die from laughter. He even looks like a dog. The laughter of contempt rang out unceasingly. Feng Lin's body stiffened, and he felt extremely sullen. He didn't expect himself to be mocked by a group of monkeys. If this were to leak out, he would surely become the biggest joke in the interstellar space. Luckily, this was just an illusionscape. He also wouldn't quarrel with a group of monkeys. He shouted in a loud voice, "Can it be that the words you guys agreed on earlier cannot be counted upon? So what if I'm a wild monkey? I will become your king after I jump through the water curtain." The group of monkeys laughed again. "You are so skinny, how can you become the Monkey King?" "That's right. You can't even win against me in combat. Given your small size, wouldn't you be courting death if you make the attempt?" These monkeys continued to laugh as their words grew meaner and meaner. Cough, cough, cough. All of a sudden, the sounds of coughing rang out as that white-furred old ape from before walked out. He cast a deep glance at Feng Lin and spoke in a heavy voice, "The words earlier are naturally counted. Although you are a wild monkey, as long as you can jump through this water curtain formed by the waterfall, you can naturally become the Monkey King, our king." After the old monkey spoke, the other monkeys also fell silent, but their gazes still had the contempt from before. Feng Lin nodded toward the old monkey. He drew in a deep breath and walked toward the edge. Only by viewing it in such close distance could he see the waterfall's true appearance. The water fell from a height of at least 1,000 feet. The speed of the water flow was extremely quick, creating something akin to a water curtain as the water fell unabatedly. Truly, this seemed like a magical work of nature. The records in the legend seemed very simple, but when one had to experience this for themselves, they would then feel the danger. If he was the slightest bit careless, he would be crushed and washed away by the waterfall, and his life and death would be unknown. Go and jump. Why are you not jumping? A wild monkey will always be a wild monkey. The group of monkeys shouted loudly behind him, jeering at him. Feng Lin's heart sank. It seemed like even the Monkey King wasn't popular at the start. Sun Wukong must also have been ridiculed like this before. Only by passing through the water curtain would he be able to subdue all these monkeys in a single move and become the true Monkey King. He stared at the endless flows of water and gritted his teeth. At the next moment, he summoned up the entirety of the strength in his body. He arched it and abruptly jumped, his skinny frame leaping toward the water curtain. Behind him, all the monkeys had their eyes wide open. At the next moment, boom! The waterfall mercilessly continued its flow. The waters instantly engulfed Feng Lin, pushing him down toward the lake as he vanished from sight. Ha ha ha! Truly, a silly monkey that has overestimated himself. Didn't I say that he was courting death? The monkeys kept on laughing. They then continued their way and left the area, only the echoes of their laughter remained. The white-furred ape had a look of regret on his face when he saw Feng Lin floating on the lake below. After that, he slowly left as well. Feng Lin swept to the bank. His entire body was soaking wet and looked very pitiful. Seeing his own pathetic state in the water's reflection, he couldn't help but sigh. What the legends recorded were just words. In reality, things weren't so simple. There were too many unknown variables that he had to test out one by one. He should spend some time and ponder about this properly. What does it mean to be the Monkey King? Chapter 260, Clear of Heart, Seeing One's Nature, Comprehending the Emptiness, 1. Feng Lin was alone as he squatted on a mountain peak. He stared at the monkeys having fun in the distance and couldn't help but feel slightly depressed. Even monkeys knew how to discriminate. These monkeys gathered together and exuded an obvious aura of keeping their stance. They coldly stared at Feng Lin, there was a wary look in their eyes as they isolated him. These monkeys occupied a peach forest, drinking a mortal drew and eating spiritual peaches. They had everything they wanted and also had no natural enemies, living a carefree and unrestrained life, a life even better than that of immortals. Under such a carefree environment, these monkeys naturally grew arrogant. Feng Lin, this dust-covered wild monkey, naturally was disregarded by them all. There was no way they would accept him. As he traveled behind them, there were cold looks shot at him frequently. Feng Lin simply stayed at the back, but he wasn't too bothered by it. Why? Around the flower fruit mountain, there was only this group of monkeys. He had circled this place once. Since Sun Wukong successfully became the Monkey King, his subordinates naturally had to be this group. There were no others. As for the earlier incident at the water curtain, things were recorded in the legends saying that Sun Wukong was successful. So, why could Sun Wukong do it and was accepted as their king while he failed and got despised by all? Feng Lin felt a little depressed. Both he and Sun Wukong were spiritual stone monkeys. Why was there such a great difference? This meant that there must be many things that went unrecorded. Feng Lin could only sigh silently in his heart. Even for the great sage equal to heavens, he wasn't born strong and tyrannical, with thousands of monkeys worshipping him. What happened exactly in the process of him being born to the point where he became the great sage? Feng Lin was bewildered. He simply followed the monkeys around and was unaware of how much time had passed. The sun rose and sun set, days after days simply flowed by. As the night grew deeper, the stars began to dim. The atmosphere turned gloomy and somewhat eerie. Swish! A blast of cold wind whistled through the air as a sudden sense of danger bore down on Feng Lin's heart. Feng Lin was currently lying on a thick branch of a tree, startled awake. In the darkness, he could see numerous pairs of crimson eyes that were filled with hunger and cruelty. Was it those demonic beasts again, who wanted to consume him, a spiritual stone monkey? Did they come to stir up trouble again? A cold smile lit up Feng Lin's lips. But after thinking for a while, he felt that this didn't seem to be the case. He had already used the innate transformation ability of the spiritual stone monkey to conceal his golden fur and aura. How could these demonic beasts find him? At this moment, those crimson eyes gathered and were like tiny red lanterns that hung suspended in the air. The eyes looked sinister and terrifying, and they were staring in a certain direction. No, something is wrong. These demonic beasts are not here for me. Feng Lin suddenly understood. In the darkness, the silhouette of a sturdy and muscular figure as large as a tiger appeared under the moonlight. This was a huge wolf about 3 meters in length and had an extraordinary air. Its body was covered in tough carapace and was terrifying to the extreme. Demonic chi resembling dark clouds enveloped it. It was clearly a demonic wolf. A whoa! A shrill howl echoed through the night, undulating up and down in volume. Many other howls joined it. The peach forest trembled as the cacophony of howls reverberated through the air. Demonic wolves, demonic wolves. Demonic wolves entered the forest. Quickly save me. The monkeys were in complete panic, screams of fear rang out. They all hurriedly climbed to the top of the trees, hugging the branches and trembling. These demonic wolves that rushed out of the darkness were like evil apparitions. They leaped into the air and wrenched open their smelly maws, trying to bite the monkeys. These monkeys on the branches naturally kept leaping around, evading the bites. But some unlucky ones were knocked down to the ground. Kacha! The sounds of teeth biting into bones could be heard. The demonic wolves chomped down, with blood and saliva in their maws. Their eyes contained a look like that didn't know satisfaction as they stared at the escaping monkeys. The monkeys were like prey to them, their eyes flickered with an intense bloodthirst and cruel amusement. At this moment, when they opened their maws, balls of black demonic fire manifested and blasted out. Those unlucky monkeys were instantly burned upon contact and became delicacies in the stomach of the wolves. All of them died miserably, with no power to resist. Roar! A voice of sorrow echoed out, brimming with the heat of anger. Demonic wolves, you guys actually dare to target my monkeys? Are you all courting death? Fenglin glanced in the direction of the voice. In the darkness, he could see beams of starlight being absorbed by a skinny-looking figure. No, this figure wasn't a human. It was a white-furred old ape. Its body was clearly in a state of withering, exceptionally aged. This old ape was simply too old. Time had squeezed out all his vitality, and it seemed ready for the grave, a heavy death aura surrounding him. But as the starlight inundated it, that withered and skinny frame was like an old tree birthing a new sprout. Its vitality started to recover as powerful fluctuations of life force radiated forth. Its aura was extremely powerful, and the pressure it manifested felt like a tall mountain. The group of wolves howled, evidently feeling danger. They bared their fangs and slowly retreated. They could all feel a strong sense of threat. If they didn't retreat, they would die. The current king of the monkeys was already very old. However, its prestige was still there, no one could profane it. It was like he was in the spring of his life once more. The old king of monkeys howled and leaped down from a tall tree. It directly rushed into the crowd of wolves and punched out like thunder, blasting the heads of the wolves near him off, crushing them completely. These wolves felt the stimulation of fresh blood. They went even wilder and pounced toward the old ape, baring their fangs and slashing out with their claws, wanting to tear the ape into pieces. Die! Anger burned in the eyes of the old ape. His fingers were filled with an explosive strength as he crushed the throats of the wolves nearest to him. Its attacks were incomparably ferocious, like the most valiant martial artist in the world. Despite its age, it didn't retreat while fighting one against all the wolves. A look of violence could be seen on its face. With the old ape in the center, a meat grinder appeared. As long as any wolves got near him, they would instantly be torn apart, causing the ground to be dyed red with their blood. The paradise-like peach forest was now filled with a bloody aura. The old ape was incomparably ferocious, and none of the wolves could stop him. For a period of time, the attacks by the wolves slowed significantly. Old ape, you won't be able to win against us. A sharp voice drifted over in the form of a howl, causing the nearby wolves to howl as well. Animals had their own speeches. Although this was a howl, Fenglin could also understand the meaning within. The demonic wolves left the old ape and gathered together. After that, they moved to the side and opened up a path for the demonic wolf king to walk through. The wolf king bared its fangs. Its fur was azure green. It was about 5 meters tall and could actually walk bipedal, only a step away from taking on human form. Green Wolf King, it is you. The old ape's eyes gleamed with sharpness when he saw the Wolf King. That's right, it's me. The Green Wolf King had a human-like grin on its face. You monkeys have occupied this immortal peach forest that is filled with celestial chi for too long. Other than you, the king of the monkeys, the other monkeys in your tribe are all trash. They don't have the qualifications to stay in this location. But if you provide us with 9 monkeys to grind our teeth every month, we will spare you. How about it? The Green Wolf King smiled malevolently, and its eyes shone with an evil green light. Drool dripped from its maw as it stared at these monkeys, treating them as prey. These monkeys lived on the spiritual peaches, so their bodies must be filled with spiritual chi. To him, the monkeys were a delicacy. You actually want me to give my tribesmen to you, just to grind the teeth of your pack? The old ape king was instantly enraged. Its thick fists pounded on its chest as it roared. Old ape, don't try to scare me. Although your strength is above me, the other monkeys in your tribe are trash. Can they win against my children? If you take me as your enemy, your monkey tribe will be annihilated today. The Green Wolf King laughed. The monkeys wrapped themselves around tall trees, all of them trembled in fear. There was a feeling of despair in the air. The old ape had a face filled with rage, but it didn't say anything as it knew that what the Wolf King had said was the truth. Helplessness could be seen in its eyes. Monkey King, why don't you agree to them? These are all evil wolves. Only 9 of our tribe every month. It's good if we can secure the safety of the rest. Under the hungry stares of the wolves, the monkeys were all frightened silly. The Wolf King laughed uproariously when it saw this. Old ape, your monkeys have agreed, what are you hesitating for? Could it be that you really want to use their lives to fight against my wolf pack? Even if the monkey tribe goes extinct today, I'm going to exterminate all the wolves in your pack. The old Monkey King roared in anger. It wouldn't allow itself to be threatened. Monkey King, don't do this. These wolves are also ferocious. We can simply sacrifice the young and the weak. The safety of the entire tribe is more important. A healthy-looking male monkey tried to persuade the old ape in a loud voice. It didn't want to die just like that. Bang! The old Monkey King sent a fist at it, the impact causing the monkey who spoke to fly through the air. That monkey had a look of disbelief on his face. He flew toward the wolf pack and was instantly surrounded. Before its death, its eyes were wide open. It only saw the old Monkey King staring at it emotionlessly. Since you want to sacrifice the tribe members, let the first sacrifice be you. Gotcha. The Green Wolf King directly pounced over and bit its head off, relishing the delicious taste. Its green eyes stared at the old Monkey King cruelly. Old ape. Seems like you are planning to refuse my offer. Green Wolf King, you want me to sacrifice the members of my tribe to you? Impossible. Wolves are greedy by nature. If I follow your will, there would be no more days of peace for my monkey tribe. Today, it's either you die or I die. As expected of the king of the monkeys, it wasn't willing to admit defeat. The silvery white fur on its body fluttered in the wind as it absorbed the boundless starlight. After that, the starlight actually gathered and manifested a sharp sword in its hand. The old Monkey King brandished the sword as its aura suddenly changed. A beam of sword light flashed as it lunged toward the Wolf King. Sword flowers materialized, blooming in the air, causing one's vision to be dazzled. Sword chi vortexes formed from every flower. The demonic wolves were instantly torn apart upon contact. Roar! Seeing that his subordinates had died, the Green Wolf King howled in rage. It coldly spoke, "We are both kings of our subordinates. Do you really think I'm afraid of you?" It lifted his head and let out a long howl while staring at the moon. The essence of the moonlight congregated around it, forming a silvery armor. Old ape, die. It malevolently laughed and lunged over. Chi, chi, chi. Sword dance of the white ape. Its dances were like mountain goats tussling using their horns. It seemed incredibly wondrous. It flitted through the gaps in the Wolf King's ferocious attacks, targeting the Wolf King's flaws precisely. Although the Green Wolf King was very fierce, it was also suppressed for a period of time. However, given the tyrannical nature of wolves, they didn't fear death in combat. Although the Wolf King was injured from the exchange, its sturdy armor protected it from any mortal wounds. It continually attacked the old Monkey King, not allowing the Monkey King to attack his pack. Jajage. Little ones, kill these monkeys. The Wolf King laughed malevolently. The other demonic wolves howled and lunged toward the monkeys. They were filled with the intent of slaughter. These monkeys were helpless. They could only flee in a panic, but were easily caught up by the wolves. Feng saw this scene from the side, and he couldn't help but shake his head. These monkeys were simply too weak. Only the old Monkey King had a cultivation base, and the others were all mortal monkeys that lazed about, only knowing how to relax and eat immortal peaches. In the wilderness, not having enough strength was a sin, thus, they deserved this calamity. He shook his head and prepared to leave. All of a sudden, a low voice was transmitted to him. "Innate Stone Monkey, seeing that we are of the same race, please rescue my tribe members." Feng heart stirred. He saw that the old Monkey King was actually staring at him. Clearly, the old ape had already seen through his identity. "How did you know that I'm an innate stone monkey?" Feng asked. "I've personally seen you being born. On this mountain, other than our monkey tribe, there are no other monkeys elsewhere. So, when you appeared, I instantly knew of your identity." The old Monkey King transmitted its voice back. "So this is the case." Feng mumbled silently. This stone monkey took the form of a monkey because when it was inside the stone and when its intelligence just formed, it learned the art of how to absorb essence from the sun and moon from a white-furred old monkey. This allowed its intelligence to be enhanced, and when it finally was born 10,000 years later, it instinctively took on a monkey's form and became the spiritual stone monkey. It had been so many years, and it seemed like that white-furred old ape from the ancient times could be considered the ancestor of these monkeys. Since this was the case, Feng decided to give it some face. "Stone Monkey, we are of the same race. Please save my tribe members." The old Monkey King implored him, confirming his guess. Feng sighed. Now that the old Monkey King had put it this way, he couldn't help but act. This karma had to be paid back. The most important thing was that this would also allow him a chance to integrate into this monkey tribe. Only by doing so would he be able to find the path of awakening the Monkey King gene and find traces of its pathway. Feng body flashed. He transformed into a gray shadow as he rushed into the crowd of wolves. A demonic wolf saw the dust-coated fur on Feng and sneered coldly. It instinctively opened its maw and wanted to swallow this skinny figure whole. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat, right? Creak, creak. At the next moment, its eyes were wide open. It actually had no way to finish the bite. What? Its eyes protruded out. It did his best trying to close his maw, but to no avail. The skinny monkey grabbed its snout with its hands. Feng figure might be skinny, but his body seemed to contain boundless strength. He wanted to destroy this wolf completely. Bzz. Feng lifted the wolf in the air and exerted force, tearing the wolf apart. The demonic wolf's large body was torn into two just like that. A shower of blood then fell from the sky. Feng's entire body was dyed red. He stood in the crowd of wolves, threw his head back, and roared. Boundless ruthless chi gushed out, filled with the desire for destruction. The heavens and earth lost their color while the wolves in the surroundings lost their voices.